Shalom, brothers, Most High in Christ bless. My name is Captain Isaac, and to my right,
Officer Lavi.
all praises to the Most High. Today, we're going to be discussing the history of the Haitian Revolution and as it pertains to the Bible. But the title is called The Black Jacobins, The Truth About the Tribe of Levi. Okay, the Black Jacobins, the truth about the tribe of Levi, who are the so-called Haitians today. But before we start, show me what I just pulled up. All right, this is from an app called Clubhouse, as many of you know already, or if you're not living under a rock. Clubhouse is an app that most of our brothers and sisters are on, and we use that app to bring out the word of God every night. For those of you who are familiar with us, you know how we do, okay? So obviously, you know, we have the foresight and the fortitude to use these different avenues to spread the word, but then along with that, you have the people who are stagnant, who have no foresight or fortitude on anything. They usually follow us. They chase us to either scorn or to try to disprove what we're saying. All right, and this is one group that was started, and it says RIP IUIC precept debunked with the Bible. Okay. And you got some Hebrew names up there. Now, I don't know if they're up there to defend us or not, but a majority are not. Their main job is to slow us down, try to hinder the word. All right, get to the next one. Sent you a few screenshots. Oh, look at some familiar faces. Some familiar faces up there. IUIC is a crackhead cult with dumb doctrine. Unbelievable. Familiar faces, man. Go ahead. A lot of these brothers and sisters used to be with Israel United in Christ, right? And their oil ran out. Their gas and their oil ran out. There's another page, stumbled across. True biblical smoke. True biblical smoke. So I guess the other one is false.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got a half-naked woman standing right next to a black woman, half-naked, standing next to the American flag. Okay. True biblical smoke. Israelites are wrong about a lot. Okay, next one. This is the one that I wanted. This one says, can you zoom in? I see some familiar faces again. Look like some familiar faces that used to sit up here, right here in Dallas. Some familiar faces that used to be right here in good old Dallas, Texas. Well, they say everything is bigger in Texas, right? But not common sense. Common sense seems to be very minute in the state of Texas. It says 12 tribes chart fake. Genesis 49 breakdown trash. Wow. We're going to get into that a little later. There's also a screenshot that I wanted to show of a particular camp that I guess has a new breakdown. They're saying that the island of Trinidad and Tobago, you familiar with that island? How many of y'all familiar with the island of Trinidad and Tobago? A lot of people don't understand the 12 tribes chart. The different tribes that are located, those areas, those geographical areas is where the bulk of our people was taken into slavery. Okay? When it comes to the 12 tribes chart. Now, we know that Israel is scattered everywhere. But the 12 tribes chart deals with where the bulk of our people was taken to on the western hemisphere of this world. Y'all understand that? All right, so like I was saying, there's a camp that was saying that Trinidad and Tobago is a tribe of Levi. That's totally incorrect. Although they have Haiti up there still, that causes major confusion because like I said, the chart deals with where the bulk of our people are, In this day and time, you got brothers that just came from Tijuana, right? Dealing with, of course, the tribe of Issachar. And you have remnants of Levi there through what? Migration. Not slavery, but migration. Okay? The 12 tribes chart deals with what? It deals with colonization, and most important, slavery. Okay? Now, you have remnants of our so-called Haitians in Mexico now. So what are we going to put Mexico under the tribe of Levi? No, it's confusion. It's all confusion. But read Genesis chapter 4, and I want you to read verse 1 and 2. Not Genesis, I'm sorry, Galatians chapter 4, verse 1 to 2. All right, because like we just went through and showed all those screenshots from Biblical Smoke, and a majority of these people used to be in Israel united in Christ. Now they're speaking contrary. Like I said before, the oil is gone. The oil is gone. There's no more oil left. Whatever wisdom they had, once they were here, that wisdom stayed back. They left. Okay, go ahead.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant.
So these brothers, when they was with us, they were children. Why? They were called what? New babes in Christ. I'm a child, still learning under my elders. Okay, that be the bishops and the deacons. Okay, and officers and soldiers and etc. We're all children. We are all children. Read that again.
Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all.
And we be servants one to another, we're subject one to another. Go ahead.
But is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father.
Now, why did I bring that out, Officer Gabriel? Why am I bringing this particular scripture out as it pertains to these people that I just showed on these screenshots from Biblical Smoke? Yeah. You could just get up and use the mic. Well, just exalt your voice. If it's not working, just exalt
Check.
There we go.
Hey, Shalom, Cap. The reason why you pulled Galatians 4:1 is because with them being children, they're not in a position to be pushing any, I'm not going to say a new doctrine, but breaking down any scriptures.
Yeah,
the Lord is not going to use them to further anything because they're children.
Exactly. And a majority, I would say 99.9 of times when brothers leave, there's always an issue, an unresolved issue that they have. Okay, going in within themselves. All right, their spiritual house is out of order. So the Most High is not going to use nobody out of order to bring no new breakdown. You're still a child under what? Tutors and governors. Who would the tutors and governors be? Terrence. You could just exalt your voice if it's not, or yeah. The leaders, yes, the leaders. Those are the tutors and governors that the Most High has set up to guide us. So when you go out like this, and you start, going against the grain and contrary to the doctrine, what you're saying that you're smarter. The Most High imposed this great wisdom on you, but not on the bishops and deacons, all added together, got over like 300 plus years of wisdom. That's like a slap in the face. That's an insult. That's what a so-called black man today has no gratitude, no loyalty, or nothing. All right, to put up something like this, to start a room, the 12 tribes chart fake. So if it's fake, so what's the real one? What is the real one? Do you have the real one? Where's the video? Where's the video that you produced? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Can't be found. Where's your ministries at? Nowhere. Can't be found. Absolutely does not exist. Okay? Read that again.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 1. Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all.
Read on.
But is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father.
Until the time appointed, till the Most High moves the spirit of those over you to put you in certain positions or to make you supervisors over different sanctuaries. Okay, where you're able to teach. Okay, go ahead.
Even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world.
Okay, even when we were children under bondage, under elements of the world. So since we're headed into this direction, today we're going to talk about, like I said, the tribe of Levi, okay? We know who the tribe of Levi is today. It's the so-called Haitians, the so-called Haitians. I want to open up with Malachi, the 2nd chapter. I want to open up with Malachi chapter 2, and we're going to start with verse 4 through 6. This is when the tribe of Levi was in their right mind, before they were called Haitians, all right? Before they were called Haitians. Malachi chapter 2, verse 4 to 6.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 4. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts.
So the Most High said his covenant might be with Levi. Come on.
My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me.
So the Bible says that his covenant was with him of what? Of life and peace, right? Go ahead.
And I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name.
Go ahead.
The law of truth was in his mouth.
What was the law of truth that was supposed to stay in the mouth of Levi? Read verse 7.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge.
For the priest's lips should keep knowledge. What is the knowledge? The knowledge is exactly what we read in verse 6. Go ahead.
And they should seek the law.
And it explains it right there. They should seek the what?
The law at his mouth.
Now go back up to verse 5.
Verse 5. My covenant was with him of life and peace.
We'll explain that part. What is that going into, Officer Gabriel?
Levi were the teachers. They were the teachers of the covenant of the Most High, and the covenant of the Most High, what brings life and peace to the 12 tribes of Israel, the Lord's will to the rest of the world.
And name me some notable Levites outside of Moses and Aaron.
Outside of Moses and Aaron, you have Aaron's grandson. You have Phineas. You have the Hasmonean dynasty, which was was Mattathias and his children, Judas, Jonathan, Simon, Eleazar, so on and so forth. You had some that wasn't righteous, because you had.
Give me some more, because the Bible's a big book.
What's the name of the New Testament? Caiaphas, the high priest, Caiaphas, Annas.
Come on, give me some more. Y'all missing some key points. Some key people that wrote the books, a lot of the books.
You had Barnabas, who was with Paul in the book of Acts. They was everywhere. Huh? Oh, John the Baptist.
All right, John the Baptist. Who else? I gave you a clue. I said that wrote some of the books. Or let's say dictated a great part of the Bible. Ezra. Nehemiah.
Nehemiah was Judah captain.
Oh, I'm sorry. I try to take Nehemiah from him.
We're gonna hold him a little bit longer.
Ezra. You had Jeremiah.
Yes, sir.
Ezekiel.
Right, Ezekiel, Jeremiah.
Yes, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Malachi himself, Samuel. All right, those are some notable Levites according to the Bible. I try to take Nehemiah from the brother. He was like, hell nah, you ain't taking Nehemiah. Get me Numbers 25 to explain the covenant of peace. I want Numbers 25. We're going to read 11 through 13. All right, y'all write these scriptures down. Go ahead. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 11 through 13. Go ahead.
Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 11. Phineas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel.
What did Phineas do that was glorious before the face of the Most High? What did he do? What did he do? Officer Gabriel, what was so great? What was so great that Phineas did before the Most High?
Phineas, he killed the whoremonger, the whoremonger from the tribe of Simeon, who had that he brought the heathen woman in the tent during the time of a plague.
Yep.
In front of everybody.
Yep.
While everybody was repenting. And because he did it in front of everybody, Phineas killed them in front of everybody.
Yes.
And that stayed the plague. So that was honorable in the eyesight of the Most High.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Have turned away my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy.
Read.
Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace.
Notice what God says. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace. My covenant of peace. So now he's explaining. Now you get them a better explanation of what Malachi was speaking about in the 2nd chapter. It says, wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace. Come on.
And he shall have it, and his seed after him.
Levites, come on.
Even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Because he was zealous for his God, and made an atonement for the children of Israel.
Now go back to what you was holding before in Malachi. Go ahead.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 5.
Start at verse 4 again. Read down to 6.
Verse 4. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace.
Come on.
And I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me.
That was Phineas. Go ahead.
And was afraid before my name.
Come on.
The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips.
Read on.
He walked with me in peace and in equity.
Go ahead.
And did turn many away from iniquity.
Read verse 7.
For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth.
So that was the job of the tribe of Levi at that time. But now, under the new covenant, all of us are priests. And we know the high priest is given unto the mighty Savior from the tribe of Judah, that being Jesus the Christ. Okay, so the priesthood is now under Judah. Okay, and yes, I put some respect on it because Judah is the head tribe. Okay, so verse 7 says, for the priest's lips should keep knowledge. That was prior to them, before the Atlantic slave trade, before the tribe of Levi got taken into slavery and called the Haitians. Okay, they had the laws of God in their mouth, and that's what they were supposed to do. That was their job, to teach the laws of God. Give me Ezekiel 44, verse 23. Ezekiel 44, verse 23. And we know through the process of time what happened. We stopped keeping the commandments of God. All right? Ezekiel chapter 44 and verse 23. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 44 and verse 23. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane.
That was their job, to teach the people, the other tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and all of the other tribes, the difference between the holy and profane. Now, this is our job in this time, to teach our brothers and sisters the difference between the holy and the profane. Go ahead.
And cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
Teach them the difference between the unclean and the clean. Come on.
And in controversy, they shall stand in judgment.
Don't rest judgment, okay? Don't be partial in judgment. Go ahead.
And they shall judge it according to my judgment.
And judge it according to God's laws. Not your emotions, not how you feel. Not your opinions, but God's laws. Go ahead.
And they shall keep my laws and my statutes.
They shall keep my laws and my statutes. Go ahead.
In all mine assemblies.
In all mine assemblies. Go ahead. Is that it?
And they shall hallow my Sabbaths.
And we shall hallow God's Sabbath. Give me chapter 32, verse 27, same book. Actually, no, I'm sorry, not the same book. Give me Exodus. Exodus 32, verse 27.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 27. And he said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp.
Now, this is when Israel fell into idolatry. This is when Israel fell into idolatry. Go ahead.
And slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor.
Remember what we just read in Ezekiel, the 44th chapter. It says to stand in judgment before God, okay? To judge accordingly to God's law, not being partial. So let's see what happened. Let's keep reading on.
And the children of Levi.
The children of Levi, come on.
Did according to the word of Moses.
Read.
And there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men.
And there fell about that people 3,000 men. Go ahead.
For Moses had said, consecrate yourselves today to the Lord, even every man upon his son, and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day.
Okay, now let's drop that. Go to the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers. So what's the purpose? Why am I bringing this part out about the tribe of Levi? To show that at one time the tribe of Levi was in their right mind, okay, where they put the laws of God on the forefront. Okay, they weren't partial in judgment. Okay, they were about keeping God's laws. All right, give me Numbers 35. We're going to read 2 to 7.
Numbers chapter 35 and verse 2. Command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possessions, cities to dwell in.
So what does the name Levi mean, Officer Gabriel? Joined unto the Lord. Write that down. Write that down. Joined unto the Lord. Read Numbers 35 again, verse 2.
Numbers chapter 35 and verse 2.
As we go on, you're going to see why I asked that question. Go ahead.
Command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possessions, cities to dwell in. And ye shall give also unto the Levites suburbs for the cities round about them. And the cities shall they have to dwell in. And the suburbs of them shall be for their cattle, and for their goods, and for all their beasts. And the suburbs of the cities, which ye shall give unto the Levites, shall reach from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. And ye shall measure from without the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits. And the city shall be in the midst. This shall be to them the suburbs of the cities. And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities for refuge, which ye shall appoint for them for the manslayer, that he may flee thither. And to them ye shall add 42 cities.
Go ahead.
So all the cities which ye shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities. Them shall ye give with their suburbs.
Now get me Joshua 13, verse 33. And I want you, brothers, to remember that, what you just read about the Levite cities. All right? The key word that we want out of that is Levite cities. So put parentheses around that, okay? Levite cities. Get me Joshua 13 and verse 33.
Joshua chapter 13 and verse 33. But unto the tribe of Levi, Moses gave not any inheritance.
No, now notice what it says. Amongst the tribe of Levi, Moses did not give them inheritance. They didn't have inheritance of land. Okay, go ahead.
The Lord God of Israel was their inheritance.
That's why they dwelt with what? Amongst the tabernacles, right? They had different cities and different suburbs amongst the other tribes because they had to offer up the sacrifices for the other tribes. Okay, and remember, that's why the name Levi means what? Joined unto me. Joined unto me, because what? The Lord was their inheritance. Read that part again, verse 33.
But unto the tribe of Levi, Moses gave not any inheritance. The Lord God of Israel was their inheritance, as he said unto them.
Okay, now get me Malachi chapter 2. Here comes the fall. Here comes the fall of the tribe of Levi. Malachi chapter 2, we're going to read 1 through 3. So as we read in the history, at one time we were in our right mind. We were in our right mind. We were priests before the Most High. We were joined to the Most High. What happened to us? Malachi chapter 2, 1 through 3. Go ahead.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If you will not hear, and if you will not lay it to heart, to give glory unto my name, saith the Lord of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings.
Come on.
Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart.
Come on.
Behold, I will corrupt your seed.
I will corrupt your seed. Come on.
And spread dung upon your faces.
Now the Bible says, behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces. Read on.
even the dung of your solemn feast,
Even the dung of your solemn feast, come on,
and one shall take away with it.
and one shall take you away with it. Read.
And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts.
All right, let's read Malachi chapter 2, 1 through 3 again.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If you will not hear, and if you will not lay it to heart, to give glory unto my name, saith the Lord of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will corrupt your seed, and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feast.
And we're about to see a perfect illustration of that. The Most High said he was going to spread dung upon the faces of Levi, especially during their solemn feast. Okay, and we know they're not keeping those solemn feasts today because they're not keeping any of the feasts in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and so forth. A lot of their feasts are what? In Obia, voodoo. Okay, go ahead.
And one shall take you away with it, and ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you,
Read.
that my covenant might be with Levi,
Come
saith
on.
the Lord of hosts.
All right, let's see the video real quick. This is an example of spreading dung upon your face. All right, this is just one of many. Can we turn the volume up? All right, this is a city in Haiti. It's called Cité Soleil. Cité Soleil. I think the literal translation means sun city or city of the sun. So what are they doing here? They're making cakes out of mud. Cakes out of mud. Okay, and you already know what you find in the mud. All right, you're gonna find out fecal matter, whether it be human, whether it be animals. Okay, go ahead. Although Esau says a lot of minerals come from the mud, but still, ain't nobody running around eating the mud. All right, go ahead.
Bon, d'après ça que nous-mêmes nous constatons dans la zone, c'est que moun yo mange terre, c'est pour nécessité. Parce que, là que moi-même m'a suivi.
Press pause. He says it's a necessity that the people in this area, and it's a very poor area, it's a necessity that they eat the dirt from the earth. It's a necessity. Go ahead.
Bon, d'après ça que nous-mêmes nous constatons dans la zone, c'est que moun yo mange terre, c'est pour nécessité. Parce que, là que moi-même m'a suivi à chaque côté. Et qui gagne dans zone côté où fait terre yo toujours suivre moun yo gagne ces moyens yo pas gagne qui fait yo manger terre.
Here you have a little young girl with a baby. I don't know if that's her daughter or her little sister, but the point is to show you that brothers and sisters over there are impoverished. Okay, read verse 3 again.
Malachi chapter 2, verse 3.
So when you have dumb people, dumb, stupid people, black people, of course, who run around and say that the 12 tribes chart is fake, they have no understanding what they're talking about. All right, we are walking prophecy. These tribes that are written on the 12 tribes are walking fulfillment of prophecy. Okay, read verse 3 again.
Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feast.
Come on.
And one shall take you away with it.
Read verse 4.
And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts.
Now show me the picture. Okay, that's another example of spreading dung upon your face during your solemn feast. Now, is this a solemn feast, brothers? No, that's not. All right, this is a voodoo ceremony. This is a voodoo ritual. And that area that they're in right there, that's where the bishop was at, along with the other brothers when they went to Haiti to cast down that vain imagination. We're going to bring that out a little later. Okay, that's mud. That's mud that she got all over her. Mud and water. Okay, that's another example of spreading dung upon your face during your solemn feast. Okay, let's get back to the scriptures now. Give me Malachi 2:7, verse 8. So what are we discussing now? The downfall of the tribe of Levi. Go ahead.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth. For he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts.
At one time, we were the messengers of the Lord of hosts. Go ahead.
But ye are departed out of the way.
Departed out of the way with idolatry, departed out of the way with adultery, fornication, breaking God's Sabbaths. All right, sin is what caused us to depart out of the way. Go ahead.
Ye have caused many to stumble at the law.
And being that their job as the messengers, the teachers, to teach the other tribes, they caused them to stumble at the law. Okay, because another way we teach is by example. Okay, that's why in Matthew, the 5th chapter, it says that they might see your good works and glorify the Father in you. We got to teach by example, brothers and sisters. So when we do wrong ourselves, guess what? You have people that's going to follow after that. That's why we got to repent daily. We must repent. Okay, the Bible says, but ye are departed out of the way, ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. Give me Isaiah 65:15. So because of this corruption, the Most High wasn't dealing with us no more. Okay, he didn't call us the tribe of Levi no more. No more were we known as the high priest or just the priests in general. Okay, so what happened to our God-given name? Isaiah chapter 65, verse 15.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 15. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee and call his servants by another name.
By another name. Shall slay us in slavery and call us by another name. What is the another name that he gave the tribe of Levi? So-called Haitians today. Not Trinidadians, not Tobagians, okay? But the so-called Haitians today. That is the name. That is the name that you are called today. Right now, you're not recognized as the tribe of Levi. Okay? Give me Genesis, the 49th chapter, and we're going to go to verse 1. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 1.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father.
So before Jacob gave up the ghost, he gathered all his sons together at his bedside, and he was telling them what's going to befall them in the last days. What's going to befall them in the last days. Jump to Levi and Simeon.
Verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren.
Now, why does it say that? Why does it say Simeon and Levi are brethren? Why does it say that? Havel.
Shalom, Captain.
Why did he specify that? Why did he put emphasis on that?
Because Simeon and Levi would dwell in the same place.
Very good. Simeon and Levi would dwell in the same place. Simeon and Levi would dwell in the same place. Before you go on, get me 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 40. You know what I want about Arsareth, right? Yes, let's get that. Let's get that. Because prior to the so-called Haitians, the tribe of Levi, being dispersed and taken into slavery and put on the island of Hispaniola, there was a tribe already there, okay? And that was the tribe of Simeon. That was the tribe of Simeon. And this is how they got there. Go ahead.
This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves.
When did they take this counsel amongst themselves that they might go somewhere else? When did that happen? Officer Akmaroon. What time period? Or give me the captivity.
The time period is 722 BC.
Around when? Okay, that's the time period. Around what captivity?
Assyrians.
No. Nope. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Somebody else. Officer Gabriel. When did, okay, forget about the year. What captivity? I'm giving y'all the clue. When did the 10 tribes take it upon themselves to go where never mankind dwelt? During what captivity? That's what I'm looking for. Plain answer, nice and simple. That's what I'm looking for. For those of you who did not know, write that down. Write that down. Figure out somewhere. There's a lot of space in that Bible. Write that down. Okay, read that again, my brother.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So the Most High even gave you the route that they took. This was the 10 tribes. Guess what? Simeon was a part of that. So they came over here to this side of the world, the Western Hemisphere, in the Americas, where never mankind dwelt, okay? And they inhabited the island of Hispaniola, okay? Go back to Genesis chapter 49 and verse 1 again. Verse 5.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their inhabitations.
So it says Simeon and Levi are brethren. I still want to focus on that. So prior to it being called the island of Hispaniola, the natives called it Ayiti. All right, there's different spellings for it. Ayti, Hayti, Ahiti, and also Ayte. You can find this in there's a book called Indians and the Israelites, Christopher Columbus and Participation. Around page 95, you'll find the different pronunciations and writings of what's called Haiti today, and the meaning means God is with us. It's almost like Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God is with us. Ayiti or Ahiti means God is with us. Same thing. It's the same meaning as Itael. The name Itael is basically Haiti spelled backwards. That's what it is. When you take out the L and you put the A there at the end, it's the same thing. It means God is with us. Okay, God is with us. So that's what the natives named that landmass. God is with us. So Christopher Columbus wasn't looking for no damn East Indians. That's why he had Spanish interpreters. Okay, he had not Spanish. I'm sorry, Hebrew. He had Hebrew interpreters with him. Why? Because he knew exactly who he was looking for. He was looking for the 10 lost tribes. Okay, and he used the book of Esdras. Okay, we shown you videos of that. There's videos that Bishop brought out with that. Okay, in that what was it, 1492, the conquest of the Indies or whatever they call it. In that he talks about Esdras. Okay, where's Esdras found? In the Bible. Okay, so read what you got again in Genesis.
Chapter 49 and verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations.
Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. What is that going into? Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. What is that going into?
Shalom, Captain. That's going into the witchcraft that they use and the hate that they have for each other over on the island.
Nope, you jumped the gun. Let's break it down one part at a time. Give a clear distinction that this ain't talking about Trinidad and Tobago. This is talking about Haiti. Okay? It says instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. Let me get that book. Come on, somebody else. And this is good to know. We should all know a little history about all the tribes. Okay, not just Southern Kingdom. We got to be able to break down all the tribes for our brothers and sisters, for the edification of our brothers and sisters when we teach them. Okay, don't just be familiar with your tribe. You should know a little something about all the tribes. All right, Officer Akmaroon?
Because they kill each other.
Nope. No. Officer Gabriel, help me out.
I was gonna piggyback beef back, land back.
Beef back, land back, off of what, a wrong answer?
Off what he said. Witchcraft, the voodoo.
Witchcraft, voodoo.
What's the Spanish?
But notice, it's talking about, so in Haiti, what is it called?
Voodoo.
What is it called in DR, Dominican Republic?
Brujeria, something like that.
They call it brujeria.
Yeah.
Brujeria. And I think Puerto Ricans call it Santeria. All right? Or it might be vice versa. But y'all get the point. So on one side, you have voodoo. On the other side, you what's called brujeria. Okay? All goes back to witchcraft. Obia. Okay? In Jamaica, they call it obia. All right? It all goes back to that. Let's show the video first, and then we'll get the pictures after. All right? The scriptures. Read that scripture real quick again, just to refresh everybody's memory.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation.
Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation, all right? That's going into the witchcraft, the voodoo and brujeria. Voodoo on one side, brujeria in DR. And this is a perfect example of it, all right? IUIC, spearheaded by Bishop, went over there during this voodoo fest and confronted it face to face. Go ahead, press play. 44 minutes and 26 seconds.
It's all about. Right, so instruments of cruelty.
The volume up.
Not all of them, but there's certain lineage that came out of there. So committing all this wickedness in Deuteronomy tells us something out of which to live. So they must repent. I think we must repent that is. I want to show details here so we can teach. We go and find out.
We Israelites. We Israelites.
That's like
Israelites.
Go ahead. No, let it rock. Let it rock a little bit more. Stop there. All right, you could take it down. We're going to show this video again as we go on further in the class. Go to the pictures that I sent. All right, so that was a voodoo festival in an area of Haiti called Sodo, which is a country. Okay. Go ahead. And a lot of them went to that water for healing and other things. We're going to get into that a little later. Okay, I'm going to show you why they did that. All right. But all of it is on the evil side. Okay, so this is more pictures during their voodoo ceremony. Okay. You can find this in a book called The Aperture, Haiti, Feeding the Spirit. Okay, go ahead to the next picture. All right. All right. There's another festival. That guy down there is supposed to be a zombie. All right, that's a mummification of a zombie. Okay. Go to the next one. All right, those pictures that you see at the bottom, there's a deity that they serve called Baron Samedi or something like that. And that's him right there. That's one of the spirits that they give honor to and stuff. And all of that is witchcraft. All of that is idolatry. All of that is idolatry. Okay. Is there more? All right, this is Sodo. It's the same place where the bishop and them was at. All right, but this is in the book. Okay, a lot of the Haitians, I almost called them Levi. A lot of the Haitians go there and they go to try to get blessings and healing and so forth. Okay, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why they do that. Okay. Right, take that down. All right. It says, read that again.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations.
That's their voodoo. Go ahead.
O my soul, come not thou into their secret.
It says, "Oh my soul." Why does it say, "Oh my soul, come not thou into their secret"? Officer Gabriel. Read the words before that so they could get the understanding. Go ahead.
Simeon and Levi are brethren.
Simeon and Levi are brethren. We went over that. Go ahead.
Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations.
Voodoo, witchcraft. Go ahead.
O my soul, come not thou into their secret.
Stop. The answer's right there. Oh my soul, come not into their secret. Officer Gabriel.
He's telling the other 10 tribes they're going to be into witchcraft and do not learn their secret.
Yes, don't come into, oh my soul, don't come into their secret. Write that down. Write that down. Don't try to remember it. Write it down. He said, you other brothers, you don't fall into that. You see what Simeon and Levi is doing? Y'all don't fall into that. Yes, a father speaking to his son. Thank you. Read that part again.
O my soul.
Before that, the whole thing.
Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation.
So we went over into the voodoo. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. We showed you the video of the event that the bishops went to cast down that vain imagination. So let me show you something. Let me show you something in the scriptures, because a lot of them believe that in this particular part of Haiti, in that waterfall, that they can get healing. There's a healing that comes. There's a spirit in the water that heals them. Let me show you that in scripture. There's no new thing under the sun. Okay, we are the people of God. It's just that the Haitians are doing things on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side, and they're not keeping the laws of God. Okay, get me John chapter 5 and verse 4.
John chapter 5 and verse 4. For an angel went down at the certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had.
So in this time, there was a water in where? In Bethesda. Read verse 2.
Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool.
Come on.
Which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda.
No, Bethesda.
Bethesda. Having 5 porches.
Come on.
In these lay a great multitude of impudent folk.
Nope, impotent folk.
Of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water.
Waiting for the movement of the water. So these brothers and sisters had diseases. They were sick. They were sick people. Okay, go ahead.
For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool.
So the angel came down at a certain season into the pool and did what? Go ahead.
And troubled the water.
Troubled the water, gave them healing. Go ahead.
Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had.
And whosoever stepped first was what?
Was made whole of whatsoever disease he had.
Of whatsoever disease he had. And it's the same ideology that our brothers and sisters in Haiti have when it comes to this waterfall in over there in Sodo. Okay? But the only thing is, even though they're trying to attribute it to the Most High and spirits and this and that, it's still wicked as hell, because one is idolatry and it's voodoo. So it's wrong. Okay? But their mindset is that, guess what? There's a spirit in the water that's going to heal them. That's why they doing what they do over there. Okay? Give me John the 9th chapter. John the 9th chapter and verse 7. Matter of fact, start at verse 6.
John chapter 9 and verse 6. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle.
That's why a lot of times during these voodoo ceremonies, you see them take dirt from the ground. They use spit too. A lot of times, I don't have the video, but a lot of times they use spit and dirt and they rub it on themselves. If there's an injury on their body, they'll put that clay or dirt or mud on it. Okay? After they spit on it. Go ahead.
And he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. And he said unto him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent. He went his way, therefore, and washed, and came seeing.
Mm-hmm.
The neighbors, therefore, and they which before had seen him that he was blind, said, Is not this he that sat and begged?
Is not this he that sat and begged? Okay, so there was here. This was Christ, though. This was Christ healing people with clay. Okay, and the tribe of Levi, they take it, and what they went to the left-hand side. They went to the evil side. The Spirit of the Lord was not working with them. Okay, how many of you are familiar with when the Most High commanded the priest, the high priest, to put the blood on the earlobe, the right thumb, and the right toe? How many of y'all are aware of that? How many of you ever heard of that? Now, to somebody in the world, guess what? Especially Esau, to them, they'll be like, man, that sounds like some voodoo stuff. Okay, but guess what? There was power in that. All right, the Most High, that's what the Most High commanded the priests to do, and guess what? They did it. Okay, the Most High has his reasoning. Our thoughts are not God's thoughts, so don't try to figure it out. Don't go home and cut yourself and try to put blood on your blood on your ear and all of that. All right. Okay, but the scriptures talk about that. The Most High commanded Levi to do that. Okay, and that's what they did at that time. But that's when we were serving the Most High in our rightful purpose. That's when we were serving God in our rightful purpose. Okay, then you also have the one in Esdras, right? When the angel told Tobias to take the fish gallbladder and liver and burn it, that it may what? Take the spirit of Asmodeus away. Remember that? Y'all remember that history?
Tobit chapter 8 and verse 1. And when they had supped, they brought Tobias in unto her. And as he went, he remembered the words of Raphael, and took the ashes of the perfumes, and put the heart and the liver of the fish thereupon, and made a smoke therewith. The which smell, when the evil spirit had smelled, he fled into the utmost parts of Egypt, and the angel bound him.
So when we hear stuff like that, we'll be like, man, what the hell? That sounds like some witchcraft. No, it's not. All right. Those are all instructions from God. Rightful, righteous instructions that he instructed to Tobit to do. Okay. Tobias to do. You had a question?
Well, I was going to say, Kat, when I first read this years ago, I had that same exact reaction. I said, what the hell?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. All right. Let's go back to Genesis so we don't lose the frame of thought. Genesis, the 49th chapter. Genesis, the 49th chapter. Yep.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations.
Read on.
O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor be not thou united.
What is that talking about? Because last time I checked, Trinidad and Tobago was united. But I know for sure Haiti and DR is not. So what does that go? What is that saying? That last part, that last precept. Read it again for them. They look lost. This is one of the easiest. The tribe of Levi and Simeon is one of the easiest breakdowns in Genesis 49th chapter, brothers. Nobody should be confused. Come on.
O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor be not thou united.
Havel, explain that.
Shalom, Captain.
Yes, sir.
I would say that's talking about how they don't get along on the island and they hate each other.
Okay.
So even though they dwell in the same place, they don't like each other. They say,
yes, there's a hatred between. There is a hatred there between the tribes. Okay, between Haiti and Dominican Republic, the tribe of Levi and the tribe of Simeon. Okay, so it says, and they're not united in what? How list some ways that they're not united. Give me some more on that. Same brother.
a lot of them they blame it on when the revolution was on the island. A lot of them mixed with different with the French, So they have differences in that way, and some of them put curses on each other. They try to put curses.
No, I don't like that explanation. Akamaroon. You were headed in the right place, but you fell off the boat. Not thou united.
Right. They're not united, but
Name some differences, some obvious differences that's just clear as day.
they don't. Well, they're separate. They don't even. When it comes to their holidays, they don't even celebrate.
So there's a culture difference.
Yes, there's a culture.
Okay,
difference.
culture difference. What else? What else is different? That's the obvious.
They
One side speaks. One side speaks Creole, French Creole, and the other side speaks what?
Speaks Spanish or.
You sound unsure.
They-
What language they speak in DR? Oh, Jesus Christ. Somebody take the mic. Give the mic up. Give the mic up. Come on, man. What are they speaking? Czechoslovakian? They speak Spanish. They speak Spanish. What the hell is going on? They speak Spanish in DR. Okay? They're divided by culture. They're divided by language. They divided, even the time zone is different. Even the time zone is different. Same island, different time zone. Okay? Show the article. Go ahead, read that.
The Dominican Republic is building a wall to keep Haitian migrant kids out.
Damn. Sheesh. They taking a page out of Donald Trump. Build the wall. Build the wall. Go ahead.
Close to 500,000 Haitians are living undocumented in the Dominican Republic. And many of them are children. Dominican Republic, business is booming for human smugglers on Haitians' border with Dominican Republic as Haitians flee the social and economic crisis at home. But the influx of thousands of Haitians, many of them children, is stoked. How do you say that?
Where are you? Stoking xenophobia.
Xenophobia in DR, which has begun work on a border wall to keep migrants out. At the
Beladera Ilaires Pina.
border gate, one of the 4 official crossing between the two countries. There's already a couple of miles of 14-foot higher cinder block wall covered with razor wire.
Well, okay, that's it on that. That's all I wanted to show. Type in, so this is some examples, brother. So write this down. Dominican Republic is building a wall to keep the Haitians out. That's another example of be not thou united. Okay, let me show you another example. Okay. Write Trujillo, Dominican president. I want to show y'all something. His name was Rafael Trujillo. Whoa, that's the wrong spelling. Trujillo. Tru, Rafael. There we go. Let's open up. Yeah, open that up. Okay, so this at one time was one of the Dominican presidents a while ago during the early 1900s. Go down. I want to show y'all something. Go down to Parsley Massacre. You just passed it. Click on Parsley Massacre. Okay. What are we looking at? Dead Haitians murdered in the Parsley Massacre, 1937. Go down, and I would like for you to read it. Okay, I want to show you something. Right? Especially for the dumb nincompoops, minuscule-minded nincompoops out there who say that the 12 tribe sign is fake. IUIC's 12 tribe sign is fake. Your brain is fake. You don't know the Bible. Okay, go ahead. You don't know history and you don't know the Bible. Go ahead.
The Parsley Massacre was a mass killing of Haitians living in the Dominican Republic's northwestern frontier and in certain parts of the contiguous Cibao region.
Mhm.
In October 1937, Dominican army troops came from different areas of the country and carried out the massacre on the orders of Dominican dictator Rafael
Trujillo.
Trujillo. As a result of the massacre, virtually the entire Haitian population in the Dominican frontier was either killed or forced to flee across the border. Some died while trying to flee to Haiti across the
Dajabon.
River that divides the two nations.
Go down. Go down. I want to show you something. Go down. Go down. You can skip that part. Go down. Where? Go down. Go down. Trujillo.
Trujillo reportedly acted in response to reports of Haitians stealing cattle and crops from Dominican borderline residents. Trujillo commanded his army to kill all Haitians living in the Dominican Republic's northwestern frontier and in certain parts of the contiguous Cibao region. Between October 2nd and October 8th, hundreds of Dominican troops, who came mostly from the areas of the country, poured into the region. These armed forces killed Haitians with rifles, machetes, shovels, knives, and bayonets. Haitian children were reported thrown in the air and caught by soldiers' bayonets, then thrown on their mother's corpse. Survivors who managed to cross the border and return to Haiti told stories of the family members being hacked with machetes and strangled by the soldiers.
That's some hatred right there. Remember what we read? Be not thou united. Go ahead.
And children bashed against rocks and tree trunks.
Damn. So they treated us like Esau. Same way Esau used to do us, they did us. Why? Because the spirit of Esau was inside our brothers and sisters from the DR. Why? Because they held dear to Spain. They wanted to be just like the conquistadors. Go ahead. Come on.
And children bashed against rocks and tree trunks. The use of the military units from outside the region was not always enough to expedite soldiers. Killings of Haitians.
Read.
U.S. legation informants reported that many soldiers confessed that in order to perform such ghastly slaughter, they had to get blind drunk. Several months later, a barrage of killings and repatriations of Haitians occurred in the southern frontier.
Damn, Judah. Man, there's some downside.
In the southern
What the hell
frontier.
is this? I feel like I got Nelly reading for me or something.
Hey, man,
what the hell? Some Judah reading.
That's that public education, man.
The hell? All right, go down. Go down. I got Nelly reading for me over here. Come on, go down.
No country, man.
Go ahead, man. Oh man. Go down, please. Go go down. Down. Go to etymology. Go down. Read that right there. You got it? Or you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
All right. Etymology. The popular name for the massacre came from the shibboleth that the dictatorial Trujillo had his soldiers apply to determine whether or not those living on the border were native Afro-Dominicans or immigrant Afro-Haitians. Dominican soldiers would hold up a sprig of parsley to someone and ask what it was. How the person pronounced the Spanish word for parsley, perejil, determined their fate. The Haitian languages, French and Haitian Creole, pronounce the R as a uvular approximant or a voiced velar fricative, respectively, so their speakers can have difficulty pronouncing the alveolar tap or the alveolar trill trill of Spanish. So basically the way they pronounce their R's is different. The Haitians pronounce their R the French way, and the Spanish, their R's are pronounced different. The language of the Dominican Republic. Also, only Spanish but not French or Haitian Creole pronounces the J as the voiceless velar fricative. If they could pronounce it the Spanish way, the soldiers considered them Dominican and let them live. But if they pronounced it the French or Creole way, they considered them Haitian and executed them. Now, I want to concentrate on something. We're still going over Genesis chapter 49 about be not thou united. Notice what Simeon, Rafael Trujillo, the president, used. He used shibboleth. Okay? Go to the book of Judges, chapter 12.
Judges chapter 12, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together and went northward and said unto Jephthah, wherefore passed thou over to fight against the children of Ammon, and didst not call us to go with thee? We will burn thine house upon thee with fire.
Go ahead.
And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people were a great strife with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, ye delivered me not out their hands. And when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in my hands and passed over against the children of Ammon. And the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore, then are ye come up unto me this day to fight against me? Then Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead.
So all the men of Gilead, you had different tribes living in Gilead, and they were also called the Gileadites. Okay, all right, the Gileadites. Yeah, I'm pronouncing that right. So amongst one of those tribes that was living in Gilead, guess who it was? Simeon. Simeon was one of the tribes that was living in Gilead. Go ahead.
And fought with Ephraim.
So Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. Go ahead.
And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim.
Remember, this is a time of judges, so Israel was wicked as hell. We didn't have a king ruling over us. We done what was righteous in our own eyes during the time of judges. Okay? So here we are fighting with our brothers from the tribe of Ephraim. And what happened? Come on.
Ye Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites.
Come on.
And among the Manassites. And the Gileadites took the passages of Jordan before the Ephraimites. And it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, let me go over, that the men of Gilead said unto him, art thou an Ephraimite? If he say nay.
It's the same thing. So the Ephraimite said, hey, let me go over. And they said, are you an Ephraimite? So the Haitians like, hey, let me cross over. And what did the Dominicans do? The tribe of Simeon? Hold it. Are you Dominican? Let me hear you speak. Say parsley. Say parahil. Go ahead. Come on.
Then said they unto him, say now, Shibboleth.
Say now what?
Shibboleth. And he said,
and he said Sibboleth. Notice how the S's, how they messed up on the S's. It's the same thing that this demon right here did. That's why it says the popular name for the massacre came from the Shibboleth. It's the same exact history. Read it again. Read that part again in verse 6.
Then said they unto him, say now, Shibboleth. And he said, Sibboleth.
Yeah, so they didn't pronounce it. They didn't pronounce it like sh. They pronounced it like s. Go ahead.
For he could not frame to pronounce it right.
Go ahead.
Then they took him and slew him at the passages of Jordan.
So when they took the Haitians, they slew them at the passages of that river, that Dahaban River over there. Go ahead.
And there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000.
So we were reading the same history in the Bible. So when people say that we are not God's people, what Bible are you reading? When we say that, when we read the scriptures, the Bible says, be not thou united. And we read this history and we show you in regular history, how do you say this is not the right breakdown of the tribes? Our people are bugged out. You got a question?
I'm sorry, forgive me, but reading this lets you know that, number one, they're both brothers. And they both
Yes,
look the same.
absolutely. That's the point.
Because for you to do the pronunciation is the only difference between us two.
Yes,
Brothers.
absolutely.
They both black.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And we read about the same thing in the Bible. And guess what? It's a spiritual, only a spiritual man would discern, like, hey, well, in Gilead, Simeon dwelt in Gilead. Same spirit back on the earth. There's no new thing under the sun. Okay? Go back to Genesis chapter 49 and verse 6.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 6. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor, be not thou united.
They're not united. They're different. We showed you in many different ways. I hope you brothers wrote it down. Go ahead.
For in their anger they slew a man.
For in their anger they slew a man. In their anger they slew a man. Somebody give me the history of that. In their anger they slew a man. Read on.
And in their self-will they dig down a wall.
What is that going into? Who knows the history of that? In their anger they slew a man. Terrence.
Shalom. That was going into when they, at the time, I believe they was cutting off man parts of some man that they killed.
Okay, you're there. Give me some more. Somebody else help him out. He's right, but give me let's fill in some of the details, missing details.
Well, I know it went into like when they raped, the sister was raped.
What was the sister's name? Dinah.
So Dinah was raped, and so now that's when they.
And they told her what? What happened? What did they tell the men of the land? The damn Hamites. What did they tell them?
They told them to circumcise their foreskin.
Circumcise your foreskin, we'll let you marry our daughter, right?
Right.
Our sister, right? Okay, and then what happened?
And then while they was weak, they ravaged the whole village.
Yes, while they were weak and recovering from the soreness, they ravaged the whole village, slaughtered everybody. Okay, and then there was a peace covenant that Jacob had with the men of the land, and that's why he said, you dig down the wall, you broke that wall. That peace that we had with them, you done jacked everything up, because you over here, you slaughtered all of them. Okay, Simeon and Levi at that time, man, they ain't play no games. They put everybody to death. Why? Because they for the evil that they did to their sister Dinah. Okay, y'all understand that part? Now let me show y'all something. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the same exact thing that we just read. Okay, but in history. Right? This is a book everybody know. You should be familiar with this book. It's called The Black Indians by William Loren Katz. It's a very old book. All right, so the heathens of the land, they raped Dinah. Simeon and Levi got together when those brothers was sore and put all of them to death. Okay, now let's read about this now. Go ahead.
In 1522, Europeans in the Americas first learned that slavery did not easily lead to enormous wealth. On Christmas Day, African and Indian slaves
Simeon and Levi
on a plantation owned by Diego Columbus rose and murdered their masters and overseers.
This was on the Hispaniola side. Go ahead.
Nearby Native Americans joined the rebels.
Come on.
The beautiful island of Hispaniola shook with the first recorded slave rebellion in the New World.
Go ahead.
The conspiracy had spread across the sprawling sugar plantation in the weeks before Christmas.
Read. Now, this is the point that I wanted. Read.
Patiently, the plotters waited.
Who are the plotters? The plotters was Simeon and Levi, right? The Dominicans and the so-called Haitians. Go ahead.
Waited until Christmas Day when the planters and their families would be bloated with food. Bloated with food. Soaked with liquor.
Bloated with food, soaked with liquor. Come on.
And too weak or sleepy to offer much resistance.
So these people was twisted. They was drunk. They waited until they was pissy drunk that they could not fight back. Okay, that's why it says, and too weak or sleepy to offer much resistance. Come on.
Then they struck, plunging into the night to kill whites and find freedom.
Then they struck, plunging into the night to kill whites and find freedom. Okay, that's the same thing. Isn't that the same tactic that they use right here in the history of the Bible? Right? It's the same thing. They waited until those brothers were sore from their circumcision, got up in the middle of the night, put all of them to death. Over here, they waited until they was pissy drunk, and they did the same thing. No new thing under the sun. All right, so let's go back to Genesis 49, verse 7. Read it in its entirety.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 7. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
Now notice what the Bible says. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Scatter them in Israel. So after 70 AD, when we migrated deeper south into Africa, we set up different empires. And amongst those empires, we had what? What's the word that I wanted you brothers to remember? Levite cities. Remember, we read about that in the book of Numbers. Remember, we didn't have an allotment of land, but amongst the other tribes when we dwelt, we dwelt on the outskirts of the suburbs. We had little cities. Now, show me that map from the book that Bishop always brings out. It's the same thing we did when we migrated deeper south into Africa. Okay, this is from the book that we normally show. It shows where the different tribes are set up amongst these African countries where they had Jews that dwelt there. Now, if you could zoom in right above Cameroon, it says what? Can you zoom in? Zoom in a little bit more. I know it might get a little pixelated, a little bit more. Right there, it says Levite cities. Levite cities. Levite cities. We were scattered everywhere throughout Africa, and we set up different Levite cities. Even to the left of Cameroon, right above, what is that, Nigeria? Right there, again, it says Levite cities, all right? All throughout this map, you see Levite cities. Why is that? Read that again. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 7. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
And scatter them in Israel. We were scattered, and we set up different cities. Now get me Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Deuteronomy, I want chapter 28. And let's go right to verse 68. For those of you who are listening, who are new to this, the book of Deuteronomy, especially verses 15 to 68, explains the curses of the Heavenly Father that he bestowed upon Israel because we broke his laws. All right, he gave us an option. He said, you keep my laws, you're going to be blessed. You read about the blessings in Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 to 14. And you read about the curses in verses 15 to 68. And if you notice, there's a whole lot more curses. Okay, and of course, we chose the latter. We broke God's commandments. Let's read about one of his curses that happened to all of the tribes. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So God said he's going to bring us into slavery again with what?
With ships.
With ships. Come on.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there
where you got off the cargo slave ships, and in this situation, we got off the cargo slave ships in what's known as Saint Domingue. Okay, go ahead.
Ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
We were sold unto our enemies. What enemy were we sold to? The French. The French, the so-called white man, the French. They're the ones who had the so-called Haitians as slaves. Go ahead.
For bondmen.
For what?
For bondmen.
Slave man.
And bondwomen. And no man shall buy you.
Meaning no man shall save us. So when we got off the cargo slave ships in Haiti and we were sold as bondmen, slave man, or bondwoman, slave woman, there's something that happened. There is something that happened. Go to verse 47. Let me hear 47 real quick.
Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
So we had to serve our enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. Go ahead.
In hunger,
In hunger, come on.
and in thirst,
In water, come on.
and in nakedness,
And in clothing, go ahead.
and in want of all things.
And in the want of all things. So when we had to learn about God or learn anything, we had to go to Monsieur Pascal, okay? Slave master, Mr. Pascal. We had to go to the Frenchman, okay? And this is what happened. This is what they authorized throughout the whole country of the island of Hispaniola once we disembarked from the slave ships. Get me the Code Noir. Okay, let me read it. Code Noir, all right? It's called, the Code Noir means black codes. This is what was instituted throughout the whole island. The Code Noir, also known as Black Code, was a decree passed by the French king Louis XIII in 1685, defining the conditions of slavery in the French colonial empire. The decree restricted the activities of free people of color, mandated the conversion of all enslaved people throughout the empire to Roman Catholicism. So now you wonder why a majority of the people on the island of Haiti, why they are Roman Catholics? It's because your daddy, your slave master, that's what he whipped into your backs. Okay, he was a Roman Catholic, so you became a Roman Catholic. Although they tried to disguise voodoo and so forth amongst it, all right, because they have the saints that they have in Roman Catholicism. In Haiti, what they do, they hide spirits behind each of those saints. They try to disguise it with voodoo. But either or, both of it is still demonic. Voodoo's demonic. Roman Catholicism is demonic. Okay? It says, defined the punishments meted out to slaves and ordered the expulsion of all Jews from France's colonies. Who are the Jews in France's colonies? Officer Gabriel? Who are the Jews? Oh, man. Y'all not watching Deacon Aitan's class? Our Hidden History? Who are the Jews in Europe at this time? It was us. It was the Israelites. Okay, it was us that was being kicked out of. Remember, you had the Spanish Inquisition way before this. Okay, but we were the ones being kicked out of Europe. Okay, it was us. Not only in Portugal, but we was in France as well. And I'm going to show you that we ruled one time in France. Okay, back then it was during the medieval times, and prior to that, that area was called Gaul. Gaul. Write that down. Gaul. Okay, so the Black Codes, the Code Noir, ordered the expulsion of all Jews from France's colonies. Go down. The code's effects on the enslaved population of the French colonial empire were complex and multifaceted. It outlawed the worst punishments owners could inflict upon their slaves and led to an increase in the free population. Despite this, enslaved persons were still subject to harsh treatment at the hands of their owners, and the expulsion of Jews was an extension of anti-Semitic trends in France. Those expulsion, I don't want y'all to get it twisted. When it talks about anti-Semitism and expulsion of Jews, it's talking about black Jews. Black Jews. It was us. Okay? It was talking about us. Go down. Click on context and origin. I just want to get to the point. I want to show y'all something. Go down. I want to get to the main key points, to the legality of it. Go down. All right. So this was instituted in not only in the island of Hispaniola in Haiti, but also in Louisiana. They brought forth over there. The tribe of Levi was also in Louisiana. Go down. Click on summary. Go down. Keep going. Okay, let's deal with this part. Religion. The first article of the Code Noir enjoins the expulsion of all Jews residing in the colonial territories due to their being sworn enemies of the Christian faith. Okay, when it goes Christian faith, that's going into paganism and all of that. Modern day Christianity, Roman Catholicism, okay? Within 3 months, under penalty of the confiscation of person and property, the Antillean Jews targeted by the Code Noir were mainly descendants of families of Portuguese and Spanish origin who had come from the Dutch colony of Pernambuco in Brazil. The writers of the code believed that blacks were human persons endowed with a soul and receptive to salvation. The Code Noir encouraged that slaves be baptized and educated in the apostolic and Roman Catholic religion. Hence, all of the people in Haiti follow Roman Catholicism. Slaves had the right to marry, provided the master allowed them to do so, and had to be buried in consecrated ground if they were baptized. Go down. There's a point that I want. Go down. Keep going. Keep going. Wait, hold up. A slave who struck his master. Nope, I don't want that. Punishments. Right there. Okay. It says punishments. Fugitive slaves absent for a month should have their ears cut off and be branded. For another month, their hamstring would be cut and they would be branded again. A third time, they would be executed. Now, notice what it says. It talks about their hamstring, right, being cut, right? Y'all see that? Go down. Scroll down, go down. Okay. Get me the next article. I sent you an article with 2 black people tied to a tree. Okay, let's read this. All right, so what do you see? Their hamstring are cut, right? Read the word hamstring, right? So this is in Haiti. Their hamstrings were cut. But notice what they're being branded with. Branded with what? Fleur-de-lis. Fleur-de-lis. Or in English translations mean the lily flower. Fleur-de-lis. They were branded with the lily flower. Why? Over here in America, Judah was branded with the name of his master. And sometimes they were branded with other things that represented a runaway slave, right? But in the island of Hispaniola, the Haitians were branded with the Fleur-de-lis. Why is that? Go down. Look at that. You see the brand on his leg? Go up a bit. Let me get that thing again. The Fleur-de-lis on his right arm. When you go down, if you scroll down to the left, the iron that he's heating up, okay, and they would have other black slaves do it. Same thing like the Americas, right? Taskmasters pit brothers against brother. Notice the Fleur-de-lis on the iron. Put the arrow on it, please, right there, so they can see what I'm talking about. Okay, that's the Fleur-de-lis or lily. Go down, so I can read the article. Okay, branded with Fleur-de-lis, a symbolic link to slavery, the Code Noir or the Black Code. Okay, go down. Let me see. Is there a story on it? Okay, no, it's just a painting. So a lot of times people would say, well, that's a symbol that the French used. Okay, when you do the history, it's French heraldry, right? Or French royalty when it came to the medieval era and so forth, right? Medieval, Dark Ages. Who was ruling France during the Dark Ages? Brothers, we were, right? And Deacon Ithan has showed you a plethora of different information on that. Now, let me show you something. You know what I call it? Truthful mock. I call it truthful mock. Why did the France brand the Haitians with the Fleur-de-lis? I'm going to show you. This is a book called Nature Knows No Color Line. Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. Go to my page that I wanted. Scroll down to the right. So in this book, we have images of black people who once ruled Europe. Okay, right here. Go up to the Fleur-de-lis. Right there. Now put the cursor on it right there. You have this is a coat of arms, brothers, of the Fleur-de-lis or the lily flower. Okay? And the word says negrilo. When you look up that word, it means short Negro. Okay? So look at our people. Look at the armor that they had. Headbands. It was decked out in royalty. And guess what? The Fleur-de-lis or the lily flower was one of our emblems that we had when we ruled Gaul, when we ruled France, when we ruled Europe. We had up our images with that. The image under it, where it says Noir de Joie, right there. Noir de joie, black rulers of Gaul, of ancient France. What was their emblem, brothers? The lily flower. The lily flower, okay? Okay, go down. Okay, look at that brother right there. Another brother right there, right there with the Fleur-de-lis. Saraceno, Naples. Saraceno, and even in Saraceno, Naples, in Naples is in Italy. Okay, when we ruled, we used the Fleur-de-lis, or the lily, as our emblem. Now you got to ask yourself why. Why did we use the lily as our emblem? Let's get Hosea chapter 14 and verse 5. So what did the French, what does the white man know that a lot of the blacks don't? Okay, Hosea 14 verse 5. Come on.
Hosea chapter 14 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
I will be as the dew unto Israel.
So God said he's going to be as the dew unto us, meaning he's going to be everywhere. Okay, go ahead.
He shall grow as the lily and cast forth his roots as
So
Lebanon.
God says that he shall grow as the lily. We're going to grow as the lily and cast his what?
And cast forth his roots as Lebanon.
And cast forth his roots as Lebanon. Go to our father. Go to our father, King Solomon. Go to 1 Kings. 1 Kings 7 and verse 19. Even when King Solomon built the temple, he used the lily and decked it out, put it on pillars and everything. Okay, and this is something that stuck with us even unto the medieval days, the medieval times. And this is something that the French knew and they hated. That's what they put it, instituted in their code noir, that when you brand these slaves, especially to try to run away, put the fleur-de-lis, put the lily flower on them. It was truthful mock. They was mocking us because they knew who we were. Okay, 1 Kings 7 verse 19. Come on.
1 Kings chapter 7 verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And the chapters that were upon the top of the pillars were of lily work in the porch.
So it says that they were of lily work on the porch. Okay, so even the tabernacle was decked out with lilies. Is that it? That was the whole verse?
4 cubits.
4 cubits. Give me 2nd Ezra 5:24. Now let's see what the Most High has to think about the lily. Because think about it. Why didn't we use a rose petal? Why we ain't use a rose and all the other flowers that they have on the earth? Why did we choose the lily to adorn ourselves with the lily on a headband and on our coats of arms? Why did we do that? Because we knew that was the Most High's favorite thing. Okay, and we are the Most High's favorite thing, favorite nation. Okay, give me that. 2nd Ezra 5:24.
2nd Ezra chapter 5 verse 24. And of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof, one lily.
And out of all the flowers thereof, one lily. One lily. Okay? So the French knew exactly who they were enslaving. They knew that we were the people of God, and they knew that we once upon a time ruled Europe. That's why they put those black codes in place. Expel all of them Jews, all of them blacks out of France. Put them into slavery. Okay? That's why they put that decree forth. Okay? Where will you use that? Use that Deuteronomy. All right, go back to Deuteronomy 28, verse 48 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So we have to serve our enemies. Come on.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Read on.
In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So they put yokes of iron on our necks until we was completely destroyed. Go ahead.
Until he have destroyed thee.
When those yokes of iron came off our necks, we was following Roman Catholicism to a T. Okay? Now we want to speak like the French. We want to act like the French. All right? Some of you so-called Haitians, you love your last name. You love the religion of the slave master. We were totally, totally broken as a people. All right, so now we read earlier that the Code Noir was not only, I had said that it wasn't only in the island of Haiti, but also it also extended to the Mascarene Islands and Louisiana. Okay, the Code Noir. It said first appeared in 1712 during the regency of Philippe II, Duke of Orleans, under Minister John Law, and referred to a compilation of two separate ordinances of Louis XIII from March and August 1685. One of the two regulated black slaves in the French islands of the Americas, while the other established the Sovereign Council of Saint-Domingue, that's the island of Hispaniola, known today as Haiti. Subsequently, starting in 1723, two supplementary texts were added that instituted the code in the Mascarene Islands and Louisiana. Now, a lot of you, unbeknownst to a lot of people from the tribe of Levi dwelt in the Louisiana. What's the proof that they had the Code Noir over there? Let's get the next article. For those of you who watch sports, who are into sports, you know of the New Orleans Saints. Okay, what is their emblem? The New Orleans Saints. What do they have on their helmet? They also have a Fleur-de-lis or lily flower. Okay, just recently they tried to put out a lawsuit or get the New Orleans Saints to change that emblem because they said, that came from slavery. That is true, but there's the real truth to that is that was our emblem during the Dark Ages. Okay? And not only that, but that's a favorite flower of the Most High. Okay? Go down. All right there. That's the emblem right there. What team has that? New Orleans. Where's New Orleans? Louisiana. Who is in Louisiana? The tribe of Levi. Who was getting branded with the Fleur-de-lis, the lily flower? The tribe of Levi. Okay? So y'all get y'all spirit right. Y'all put some respect on it. Okay, they knew that we was kings, so they tried to mock us. There's no difference from what they did. Let's get that scripture. Let me show you something. No difference from what they did to Christ. Let's get that. Mark 15, verse 17 to 18. Go ahead.
Mark chapter 15 and verse 17. And they clothed him with purple and plaited a crown of thorns.
Yeah, they put a crown of thorns on Christ's head. Come on.
And put it about his head.
Read on.
And began to salute him. Hail, King of the Jews.
Hail, King of the Jews. So this was truthful mock. They did it to mock him, but Christ is the king. And it's the same thing with the Fleur-de-lis, okay? That's the favorite flower of the Most High God. That was an emblem that we used on our coat of arms and our armbands and different stuff that we wore during the medieval times. And they branded us with that. Not only in Haiti, but Louisiana. Truthful mock. It's the same thing. All right? So the Fleur-de-lis was one of the many emblems that we used during that time, during the time of the medieval ages and even prior to that. All right? So we showed you that in Nature Knows No Color Line. We showed you the proof of that in the Code Noir that the French imposed on Haiti, and also the Levites that were in Louisiana. All right, let's show you some more proof. For those of you, y'all seen this video before, this music video, Pure Gold. I want you to check something out. Check it out. Go ahead. One of my favorite songs, too. Let's see who could catch it. Let's see who'll catch it. Oh, boy. Let it go. Don't pause that. You can't pause that scene right there. It's already in slow-mo. Look at that right there. The Fleur-de-lis, the lily flower, right on Bishop's cape. Bishop looking like a superhero right there. All right, so that's more proof that we use the lily flower as our emblem. All right, and that was a favorite flower of the Most High. Now, this is an excerpt from a book called The Moorish Presence in Pensacola. It says, moreover, the Amaru traveled to Europe and established dominions there. The Amaru were Olmec princes that dwelt in Mexico. In the Bible, they're called the tribe of Issachar. And it says, the evidence of this prehistoric presence of the Amaru in Europe is traced back to the origins of the Fleur-de-lis, a royal French emblem. Carl de Borhy pointed out that the old world Fleur-de-lis symbol is encoded in Mesoamerican art as a symbol of divinity and rulership. In his article, de Borhy identified a mural from Teotihuacan as a Harpley eagle above what he calls a pre-Columbian version of the Old World Fleur-de-lis emblem. Now, the Old World is making reference to the biblical ages, which is the symbol of the Olmec maize deity worn on the ancient American king's crown. So even our brothers from the tribe of Issachar wore the fleur-de-lis, also known as the lily flower, and through their travels, they brought it to Europe, where they also were there ruling during the Dark Ages. Now, when you go down in this article, it says, hence, the earliest evidence of the fleur-de-lis is found in ancient Mesoamerican civilization. It represents resurrection and renewal and was worn on the headdress of Amaru kings. The noted cleft head imagery was also depicted on the headdresses of Totec, the flayed lord. Rulership was deemed through connection to the agricultural deity, which corresponds with the pharaohs of Tamaray, who were to be the personification of the agricultural resurrected god Asur. Similarly, Asur wears the cleft corn headdress that interestingly provides proof of the kingship between the ancient American and ancient African kings of the global Amexem Empire. So the whole point of this article is to show you that the Israelites always wore the lily flower, also known as the fleur-de-lis. Let's go back to Deuteronomy now. Let's get Deuteronomy 28, and we read verse 48 already, right? Okay, now let's get Deuteronomy 28, verse 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. Come on.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
And thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always, all the time. Remember, Haiti is the first black country to receive its independence, and that was 1801. Okay, our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, our brothers and sisters in the Americas, wherever we was at, even in Britain and certain parts of the world, we were still held as slaves. Haiti's the first free black republic, but the Bible says that they shall be crushed and only oppressed what?
Always.
Always, all right? No control of their resources, no nothing, no nada. Get me verse Deuteronomy 28, verse 43.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
So the Bible says the stranger that is above thee that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Read on.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him, meaning they control the banks. They control the importation and exportation of raw minerals and other resources as well, like gold, iridium, and silver. All right, let's show you that real quick. Let's show you that. Let's start with this article, subsidizing starvation. Subsidizing starvation, all right? Let's read that.
How American tax dollars are keeping Arkansas rice growers fat on the farm and starving millions of Haitians.
So remember, Haiti at one time was the largest largest export of sugarcane, and not only that, but they were big on rice. Anybody who's familiar with the tribe of Levi, you know the tribe of Levi Haitians love eating rice. We love rice. We just can't help it. We love eating rice. At one time, we used to export rice. And that brought forth a lot of that, drove the economy of Haiti. What did America do? The so-called white man? We just read it. The Bible says you shall be only oppressed and crushed always. And the nation that's within you shall get above thee very high, and y'all shall come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and y'all shall not lend to them. Notice what they did here. Go down. Read.
In the wake of Haiti's devastation, 7.0 magnitude earthquake exactly 3 years ago, former U.S. President Bill Clinton issued an unusual and now infamous apology, calling his subsidies to American rice farmers in the 1990s a mistake because it undercut rice production in Haiti.
And your apology is not accepted. Your apology is not accepted. We don't accept white man apology. The only way we will consider your apology if you what? If you rewrite the wrongs that you did. This policy that you enforced, you change it. Okay? No, we're not accepting words. Your words mean absolutely nothing. Your words are like spit from a venom. All right? From a venomous snake. Because that's exactly who you are. You are a snake. You was the same snake in the garden that beguiled Eve. Back today. Go ahead.
Clinton said he struck a devil's bargain.
Because you are the devil. The reason you struck the devil's bargain because you are that deceiver. You are the devil. Go ahead.
That ultimately resulted in greater poverty and food insecurity in Haiti.
Go down. Go ahead.
It may have been good for some of my farmers in Arkansas.
So notice what it says. It may have been good for some of my farmers in what state is Bill Clinton from?
U.S.
No, what state?
US state? Arkansas.
Arkansas. So out of all of the states in the U.S., that lands the contract for the exporting of rice to Haiti, it lands in Arkansas. Fool me once, how they say it? I'm about to pull a George Bush because I'm going to mess it up. Fool me once, shame on me. Shame on me, and fool me twice, whatever. Y'all know the saying. We was fooled. Come on, man. Out of all of the contracts for exporting rice, it lands in Arkansas. Why? Because he was rubbing elbows with his buddies down there. He knew exactly what he was doing. Why didn't it land in Florida, Maine, Mississippi? It landed in Arkansas. Okay, go ahead.
But it has not worked, he said. I have to live every day with the consequences of the lost capacity to produce a rice crop in Haiti to feed those people because of what I did.
Go ahead.
Despite Clinton's dramatic confession and his role as the United Nations Special Envoy for Haiti, little has changed in the last 3 years for the Caribbean country's farmers.
The reason he was a special envoy for Haiti is because he wanted to suck the resources out of Haiti. Let's read it again. Deuteronomy 33. You guys, you know what's wrong with our people? The Most High God is the creator of all creations. He created everything on earth, the animal and us as a race of people, human beings walking around. He knows the spirit in what he created. He tells you, don't trust your enemies. We don't listen. Okay? He put himself in that position as the special envoy to Haiti so what? He can reap the resources for him and his buddies. Okay? That's war. Okay, they understand strategy. They know how to put themselves in certain positions to do what? Reap the benefits of the land, reap the benefits of resources to fulfill their agenda for many years, decades, and centuries to come. Okay, black people has not caught up yet to that. Read verse 33 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
We shall be only oppressed and crushed always. Who wrote this? God. God wrote this down. Okay, God knew exactly what he was saying. All right, read on. Read back to the article.
Despite Clinton's dramatic confession and his role as the United Nations Special Envoy for Haiti, little has changed in the last 3 years for the Caribbean country's farmers. If anything, they appear worse off. Before Hurricane Sandy hit the eastern seaboard, its rain and flooding caused $234 million in agricultural losses in Haiti. For a brief moment, coverage of the disaster in the American media shone a light on the miserable conditions that the country's farmers are faced with. A lack of infrastructure, capital, and markets that could help their families and the country prosper.
Go down. Let me see if there's anything else I want to read. Keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going down. All right. Let's get the next article. Let me see the title. Okay. Let's read that. Read that nice and loud.
How the United States crippled Haiti's rice industry.
Because a lot of time we like to just blame France, but guess what? All the Edomites races are responsible for this, okay? Mainly America. You have America, France, and Canada. They all in cahoots to keep the so-called Haitians under their feet. Okay, and the Most High is the one who put the spirit in them to do that until we repent. Okay, go ahead. Read that right there where it says we are living.
We are all living under a system so corrupt that to ask for a plate of rice and beans every day for every man, woman, and child is to preach revolution.
Right, that's from Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Now, this is, we basically showed you how this happened with the previous article with Bill Clinton and his buddies over there in Arkansas. But read this. Go ahead.
The basic right to eat is at the very heart of Haiti's struggle for democracy. Jean-Bertrand Aristide, the radical voice of Haiti's poor, aptly characterized slavery when he wrote, "The role of slaves was to harvest coconuts, and the role of the colonists was to eat the coconuts."
We just read that. Deuteronomy 33 says the same thing. We are living prophecy, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
To Aristide, those who have food and those who don't marks the vast chasm separating Haiti's wealthy elite from millions of impoverished citizens.
Read.
The rich of my country, a tiny percentage of our population, sit at a vast table covered in white damask and overflowing with good food, while the rest of my countrymen and countrywomen are crowded under that table, hunched over in the dirt and starving. It is a violent situation.
And we showed that earlier when we showed them eating the mud cakes. Okay? A lot of them were eating mud cakes. Why? Because of poverty. Go ahead.
And one day the people under that table will rise up in righteousness.
That's now. One day those people under the table shall rise up in righteousness. Get me that in Isaiah 51, the last couple of verses. Let's get that. See, that scripture just popped up in my mind when he said rise up in righteousness, all right? Why does it say rise up in righteousness? Hold on one second. Let me get it with you. Where does it say? Right, verse 20. Isaiah 51 and verse 20.
Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 20.
How did we get on the floor in the first place under the table? This is how. Go ahead.
Thy sons have fainted.
Why? Because we fainted. We lost consciousness of who we are. We fainted. All right, we strayed away from the laws of the Most High God. Go ahead.
They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord.
Read on.
The rebuke of thy God.
The rebuke thy God is written in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. That's what we was just reading. Go ahead.
Therefore, hear me now this. Thou afflicted.
Who's the afflicted? The Israelites. All right. In this case, we're speaking about the so-called Haitians being afflicted. Can't even control their own rice. Now they got to import rice from Arkansas. They got to import rice from China. Plastic rice from China. Go ahead.
And drunken, but not with wine.
But we're drunken with philosophy. We're drunken with Roman Catholicism. We're drunken with voodoo, witchcraft. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God, and thy God that pleaded the cause of his people.
Jump to verse 23. Come on.
But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
Come on.
Which have said to thy soul.
This is the part that I want.
Bow down.
Bow down. Bow down. That's how we got under the table, eating the crumbs, like we're reading in this article that Jean-Bertrand Aristide wrote. Okay, we were the ones under the table. Why? Because the Most High put the spirit in Esau to get us to bow down, meaning be in a position of servitude. Read.
That we may go over.
That who?
That we may go over.
Who's the we that went over? The French, right? United States of America, Canada, right? Those are the three people that had a major dealing with the condition of Haiti today. Okay, they told us to bow down that they may go over. Read on.
And thou hast laid thy body as the ground.
And we willfully lay our bodies down as the ground. Read.
And as the street to them that went over.
That's why they walk all over us. But in the article right here, he said, and one day the people under that table will rise up in righteousness. What's going to cause us to rise up in righteousness? Exactly what we're doing now. All right, going out, teaching the word, waking up our people, telling them that they're no longer Haitians, that they are the tribe of Levi. Read Isaiah 52 and verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 52 and verse 1.
Come on.
Awake, awake.
Awake, awake. Why? Because in Isaiah 51, what did it say? It said we became faint. We lost consciousness of who we are. Now God is telling us, awake, awake, wake up, wake up. You're not Haitians. You're from the tribe of Levi out of the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
Put on thy strength, O Zion.
Put on the strength, O Zion. Come on.
Put on thy beautiful garments.
First and foremost, the scriptures. And then secondly, the garments that we wear. Go ahead.
O Jerusalem, the holy city.
Come on.
From henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean.
Read verse 2.
Shake thyself from the dust.
Shake thyself from the sin, the dust. Dust represents sin and confusion. Shake yourself from the dust. Come on.
Arise and sit down.
Arise and sit down. When you're sitting down, what are you doing? You're like a student. You know how a student is in a classroom? He or she sits to listen to the teacher. We are your teachers. Okay, the Israelites are your teachers. God is saying sit down so you can hearken unto the words that they're speaking out of the Bible. Sit down. Go ahead.
O Jerusalem, loose thyself from the bands of thy neck.
Take off those yokes of iron off your physical necks and your spiritual necks. Go ahead.
O captive daughter of Zion.
O captive daughter of Zion. All right, drop that. You could go back to Deuteronomy. Let's go back to this article. You can pick it up from where you left off, where it says it is a violent situation.
It is a violent situation. And one day the people under that table will rise up in righteousness and knock the table of privileged over and take what rightfully belongs to them.
Come on.
It's no wonder that Haiti's most popular party,
Famille Lavalas. Famille Lavalas, go ahead.
Chose the image of the Haitian people seated around a dining table as its emblem, signifying the overthrow of privilege and the right of every Haitian to share the nation's wealth.
Go down. Go down. Go ahead.
This is not mere symbolism. In its 1990 program,
The Lavalas Party.
the Levites Party recognized the right to eat as one of three basic principles, along with the right to work and the right of the impoverished masses to demand that is owed them.
Demand what is owed them.
In a very concrete way,
Aristide,
Haiti's first democratically elected president, illustrated this commitment on the day of his February 7th, 1991 inauguration, when he invited several hundred street children to join him for breakfast in the palace garden.
All right, this is the point that I want right here. Come on.
Haiti's hunger crisis is no accident. It is the direct result of U.S. economic policies imposed on rural Haiti beginnings in the 1980s. The story of how the U.S. undermined Haiti's domestic rice industry explains why a nation of farmers can no longer feed itself.
Okay, go down. Let me see. Okay. All right. We could stop right there. Y'all get the point, all right? And we showed you the article with Bill Clinton. Read Deuteronomy 28 and verse 33 one more time just to refresh everybody's memory. Then we're going to go into this next article. Come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
And thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always. Now let's get to his wife. Let's get to his wife, because the white woman is the glory of the white man. Okay, the same way the black woman, the Israelite woman, is the glory of the Israelite man. You read about that in Corinthians, the 11th chapter. Guess what? She thinks no different from her man. Right. Hillary Clinton is no different from Bill Clinton. All right, let's show you that. Come on.
Hillary Clinton's brother landed lucrative gold mining permit in Haiti after Bill Clinton helped country recover from earthquake devastation.
Now, shouldn't that have been given to one of the natives in the land? Shouldn't that right have been given to them? But who took it? Of course, the Clintons. All right, let's read this.
An unusual nexus of mining interests, relief
Nexus
of mining interest, relief work in Haiti, and a former U.S. first family in raising new ethics questions that could affect Hillary Clinton's presidential ambition. Clinton's brother, Tony Rodham, was a board member of a North Carolina mining company that enjoyed prime access to Haitian gold deposits in the wake of post-earthquake relief work organized in part by former President Bill Clinton through the Clinton Foundation. Another board member of the firm, VCS Mining, was former Haitian Prime Minister Jean-Max Bellerive, who co-chaired the charitable interim Haiti Recovery Commission with Mr. Clinton.
Go down. There's always going to be a coon in the mix. It never fails. Okay, the raccoon is not only primitive to the United States of America. Okay, they're everywhere. Go back up. Did you skip something? All right, right there. Come on.
The revelation, smacking of cronyism and backroom government dealing.
Backroom government dealing. Backroom government dealing. That's why we always speak about what? We speak about the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast. The mark of the beast. What is it talking about? America's policies. Okay, it's policies. This is a prime example. All right? Backdoor, backroom government dealing. Go ahead.
It's part of a forthcoming book by Government Accountability Institute founder Peter Schweizer, who worked exposing the investment insider trading habits of members of Congress caused national outrage in 2011, even though the practice was legal.
Go down. Hold on. Wait. Go back up. Look at the background. What does it say right here? Go back up. Go back up. Look at that. The nerve. Esau puts it out there, but our people go to sleep because our people on their mind is nothing but fried chicken and damn Kool-Aid. Right in the background, because she's a member of the CFR. The Clintons are a member of the CFR. I forgot what it stands for. Something about foreign relations. Council of Foreign Relations, okay? Look at the background. Haiti is open for business. You dumb, black, stupid people out there. Open your eyes. The other nations don't love you. Haiti is open for business. Okay? The Most High prophesied about that. The Most High said that. You read about it in Deuteronomy 28 verse 33, but no, you don't listen to that. What you want white Jesus and you want December the 25th Christmas. That's what you want. Go down. Go down. Go ahead.
Clinton Cash, the untold story of how and why foreign governments and businesses helped make Bill and Hillary rich. His last book,
Jesus Christ. Come on, man.
Will go on sale May 5th.
Go ahead.
At the time, VCS Mining's gold exploitation permit was awarded, according to a press release from the company. It was one of only 2 firms to get one. The Haitian government hadn't issued such a permit in more than 50 years.
Wow. So that's why they got the coons in place, so they could go ahead and retrieve these permits. Okay, this is from the Breitbart News right here. Go ahead.
Breitbart News first reported on the investigative non-fiction books coming release. In January 2010, Haiti earthquake killed more than 100,000 people and affected more than 3 million. That disaster was followed 9 months later by a cholera epidemic of historic proportions. The Clinton Foundation raised at least $36 million to help, according to its website.
Go ahead.
The Obama administration pledged $3.6 billion. Much of the U.S. assistance is provided by the U.S. Agency for International Development, a department of the State's Department that Mrs. Clinton led at the time. according to the department's website.
So that's the picture right here. We're not going to read the whole thing. Go up. Let me see the picture. All right, that's the demon. That's the red demon. That's the Edomite. That's Esau right there, okay? You see how red he is, right? Okay? That's the Edomite that has the mining contracts for gold in Haiti. Let's get to the next article. We're still on Deuteronomy 28, verse 33, and Deuteronomy 28, verse 43. Okay? This is an article by Norris McDonald. Haiti, give me your gold, not your weak and weary. Damn. All right, look at all that gold right there. Go ahead. Go down right there.
Haiti is back in the news with popular revolts against political corruption. Ordinary Haitians are being frustrated every step of the way as they strive to enjoy a better quality of life as is their right. The discovery of a huge $20 billion gold reserve in Haiti is no panacea since gold mining has always been surrounded by intrigue, skullduggery, and perhaps international plunder and piracy. Americans, Canadians.
Remember, I said that earlier. I said Canadians, Americans, Canadians. Come on.
And politically well-connected present and past Haitian political leaders stand to reap vast profits from the apparent plundering of Haitian gold.
Read.
Haitian workers, meanwhile, are paid a measly $6.25 a day for working in the muddy gold mining pits.
They can't even give them a $6.25 an hour. They can't even do that. And these are billions of contracts.
That's less than minimum wage. Okay?
Bro, I'm telling you, that's why that they have a deep hatred for the Haitians. Why? Because of the successful first free black slave revolt in 1801. They hate that thing. They hate that. And Esau don't forget. We forget, but Esau don't forget. This is why Dessalines and the rest of those brothers out there, that's why they were so fierce in the way they fought back. Okay? Because this man is the devil. You can't handle a snake nicely. Giving them brothers $6.25 a day. All right, next article. Drop that. Let me see what else we got. All right, go ahead with this one.
Haiti has the world's second largest iridium deposits.
Iridium is a very precious metal that can withstand high heat, extremely high heat, and Esau is using it to make space shuttles and rockets and so forth. You can find a lot of iridium in Haiti. They're trying to call Haiti the Wakanda because of this precious metal that they just found, and they recently found it after the earthquake. Okay, go down. Read that. Where it says iridium.
Iridium is one of the rarest metals on Earth, known for its strong corrosion resistance, high melting point, and hardness.
Go ahead.
As difficult to work with as it is rare. Iridium is found in large quantities in Haiti's southeast, which has the second largest reserves in the world. This metal is today worth more than gold and Bitcoin. Its resistance to high temperatures and corrosion makes it almost indispensable in the manufacture of aircraft engines and deep water pipelines. Its exploitation could be a lever for the revival of the Haitian economy and the creation of millions of jobs, argues the economics professor, Dr. Henry
Vixamar. Okay. Drop that. Let's get some more. There's another article. Haiti sitting on top of veins of precious metals. Go down. Let me read this one. Go down. All right, this is in Toile du Nord, Haiti. Its capital is blighted with earthquake rubble. Its countryside is shorn of trees, chopped down for fuel, and yet Haiti's land may hold the key to relieving centuries of poverty, disaster, and disease, and we know that's not going to happen. Esau is not going to let that happen. Why? Remember what God wrote. Read that again. Deuteronomy. We can never forget the scriptures, all right? This is the backbone. This is the source right here. Deuteronomy 28, verse 43 again. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
Come on.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
Read.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
What is he going to lend to you? What is he going to lend to you? Read verse 33.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
All the fruits of your land, meaning the resources that we're going through. He's taking it from you and then selling it back to you. He's taking it from you and giving you $6.25 a day to work in those dangerous mines. Put your life on the line just to get some gold. All right, let's go back to this article. It says, there is gold hidden in its hills and silver and copper too. A flurry of exploratory drilling in the past year has found precious metals worth potentially 20 billion deep below the tropical ridges in the country's northeastern mountains. Now a mining company is drilling around the clock to determine how to get those metals out. Go down. In neighboring Dominican Republic, workers are poised to start mining the other side of this seam later this year in one of the world's largest gold deposits. 23 million ounces worth about 40 billion. Wow, I don't even want to read the rest, but y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. Let's get the next article. Which one do you have next? All right, this is by the Seattle Times. The earthquake that killed more than 150,000 people in Haiti this month may have left clues to petroleum reservoirs that could aid economic. This is from New York. The earthquake that killed more than 150,000 people in Haiti this month may have left clues to petroleum reservoirs that could aid economic recovery in the Western Hemisphere's poorest nation, a geologist said. The January 12th earthquake was on a fault line that passes near potential gas reserves, said Stephen Pierce, a geologist who worked in the region for 30 years for companies including the former Mobil Corp. The quake may have cracked rock formations along the fault, allowing gas or oil to temporarily seep toward the surface, he said Monday. Okay, and you guys could look at this article on your own. You could look at it on your own. But what the U.S. did is they send in the UN, which is supposed to be a Peace Corps keeping section of the U.S. government, but the UN is occupying a lot of these areas where they're finding these precious minerals. All right, so you already know what the UN is doing on the low. Okay, they were sent there to make sure nobody else comes in and gets first dibs but the United States. Okay, no, we're not reading that article just yet. All right, get me that in Sirach. Get me Sirach chapter, what is it, 39? Sirach 39, verse 26, please.
Sirach chapter 39 and verse 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water.
So the Most High is telling us what are the principal things for the use of man's life. You have water.
Fire.
Which Esau built over and he owns. That's why there's a water bill. Okay? The natives of this land in America never knew anything about a water bill. Water's supposed to be for free. But they bottle it, and they sell it back to you. That's Esau for you. Go ahead.
Iron.
Fire. Iron. Come on.
And salt.
Uh-huh.
Flour of wheat.
Flour of wheat. You already see what's going on in Egypt, especially with this war with Russia and Ukraine. Egypt was receiving its import of flour and wheat from Russia. But now because of the sanctions, which is part of the mark of the beast, his embargo system, because of the sanctions, now they need another country to get flour and wheat from. What country popped up and said, hey, here we are, you can get flour and wheat from us? America. There's profit in war when it comes to this beast, okay? When it comes to this harlot, okay? Read.
Honey.
Milk.
And the blood of the grape.
Blood of grapes, come on.
And oil.
We just read about oil. All the oil reserves they find in Haiti and so forth. Come on.
And clothing.
Come on.
All these things are for good to the godly.
So to the godly, to the Israelites, they're good. These are good things. We put it to good use. Go ahead.
So to the sinners.
So to the sinners. So to Esau, the nation of Esau. Go ahead.
They are turned into evil.
They are turned into evil. And all we've been reading is articles of evil when it comes to gold, when it comes to oil, and so forth. Evil. A lot of deception going on to get these contracts. A lot of backdoor rubbing and evil to keep what? Nations in poverty and keep the U.S. up high. The Bible says you shall get very low. They shall get above thee very high. Okay? Go back to Deuteronomy 28. And where were we again? We finished verse 33. We read verse 43. Let's go to verse 68. 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. Mm-hmm. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
So we were sold as slaves to the French when we got off these slave ships. Go ahead.
For bondmen and bondwomen.
Slave man and slave woman. Come on.
And no man shall buy you.
No man shall be able to redeem us. No man shall be able to redeem us, meaning save us from the curses. And we're still in these curses till this very day, because on the island of Haiti, as we've been going over, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. However, although they were the first free black republic, thanks to men like, I'm just going to name, there's a whole bunch, but I'm just going to name a few. You have Toussaint Louverture. You have Jean-Jacques Dessalines. All right. And you also have Henry Christophe. And you also have Bonsoir Tonnerre. All right. You had a whole bunch of dudes responsible for the freedom of the so-called Haitians on the island of Haiti. But the only man that could truly save us is the black Messiah, Jesus the Christ. Now I want to show you something. Get me, since I mentioned these brothers, let me see what we got. Let me see what I want. Nope, not those. We're going to get that after. Not yet. Let's keep going. Nope, not yet. Keep going. There's a article that I sent you. Hold on. Go back to that last one. Primary source. No, not yet. I don't want that. The greatest how Haiti was forced to pay reparations for freedom. We forgot to read that, but everybody knows about that. We freed when Haiti got its independence. They were forced to pay back their own freedom money to France. They had to pay them back for kicking them out the country. Madness. There's something heavy that this man said. Okay, this man right here, his name is Bonsoir Tonnerre. Let's click on that one right there. Let's see what comes up. There's a famous saying. Go down. Go down. Go down. All right, this is a man that he helped write the Declaration right there. Read that part right there, the Declaration.
The Declaration is well known.
Let me read it. The Declaration is well known to Haitians who celebrate its passage every year on the 1st of January, Haiti's national holiday. They mostly remember it for its fiery defiance, according to the Haitian historian Thomas Madois. Its author, Bonsoir Tonnerre, got the assignment after promising Dessalines that he would use the skin of a white man as parchment, its skull as inkwell, and its blood as ink. What do we have in common with this people of executioners? The French, he asked in the Declaration, they are not our brothers and never will be. Say that again. They are not our brothers and never will be. That's right. We read about that because you got these Christians that say, well, Esau is our brother. No. You forgot the book of Amos, broke the brotherly covenant. You forgot Romans 9, verse 13. I got to read that again, man. I got to read this again. He said, this is the author. This is the man that Dessalines chose to write the Haitian Declaration of Independence. So he was a scribe. And his last name meant lightning. His last name means, no, not lightning. His last name means thunder. Tonnerre means thunder. Just like who? The sons of thunder that you read about in the New Testament. Okay? It says its author, Bonsoir Tonnerre, got the assignment after promising Dessalines that he would use the skin of a white man as parchment, its skull as inkwell, and its blood as ink. What do we have in common with this people of executioners, the French? He asked in the declaration, they are not our brothers and never will be. Now you understand why the so-called white man is so angry with the Haitians today. Why are they walking all over them the way they doing? They remember this. It's still in the Declaration of Independence. This is still written. They didn't change it. The Haitians didn't take this out. It's still written. Wow. Go to Maccabees. I want to show y'all something. Go to Maccabees. Whenever you think about the founding fathers of Haiti, I always think about the book of Maccabees, Judah Maccabees and his brothers. Okay? Get me 2 Maccabees 12:16 first.
2 Maccabees chapter 12 and verse 16. And took the city by the will of God and made unspeakable slaughters.
This is going into Judas. Okay, this is going into Judas Maccabees. What did he do? He what?
He made unspeakable slaughters.
Made unspeakable slaughters. In order to take the skin of the white man as parchment, his skull as inkwell, and its blood as ink, they must have been unspeakable slaughter. All right, which was spearheaded by Dessalines. When you read the history, Dessalines, he didn't play. Dessalines didn't play, man. This man slaughtered everything and everything moving. All right, Toussaint Louverture, he was bad too, but he was more diplomatic with his approach. Okay, but Dessalines, he was a savage. And guess what? It was necessary because he had to fight fire with fire. He couldn't fight fire with rose petals or with words. All right, and this is something that Bonsoir Tonnerre understood. Read what you got again.
And took the city by the will of God and made unspeakable slaughters, and so much that a lake 2 furlongs broad near adjoining thereunto, being filled full, was seen running with blood.
Now keep in mind that word blood. That's some heavy stuff right there. Pool of blood by Judah Maccabees, the mighty Levite. That's the same thing the Haitians was doing on that island. You think they was running around? Nah, hell nah. They was slaughtering people, chopping heads. You see pictures of that during the Haitian Revolution, hanging white folks from trees. These are the same white folks in the Code Noir, what they did to the slaves. They would chop off their ears, brand them with the lily flower on their hamstrings, cut their hamstrings so they couldn't run, dig them in the ground, and put sugarcane juice on them and let the ants eat them alive. These are things that they did to the Haitians. They remembered that. Dessalines remembered that. That's why there was unspeakable slaughters. Just like in the book of Maccabees. Same spirit. That same spirit. Okay? Now, since we're on the topic of blood, go to the Citadel. The Citadel Le Fleur. Okay? The Citadel Le Fleur. Give me the video first. Yeah, you could click on that. All right, this is the Citadel Le Fleur, which was built by Henry Christophe. Okay, this was a fortress that was built by the Haitians to keep the French out. Okay, and upon seeing this from the ocean, it looks like a ship. The way it was designed, it looks like a ship. But as you get from far away, it looks like a ship. But as you get closer, before you know it, when you get there and it's too late, you realize, oh, this is not a ship. It was a fortress. And it was sitting so high, it looked like it was sitting on another atmosphere. So it was kind of covered by the clouds. The clouds covered it up. So you could not see from far away that it was a fortress. You thought it was a ship. Okay, that was the brilliance of the Haitians back then. Okay, press play. So we had an opportunity, okay, along with the bishop and deacons to go and visit the Citadel Le Fleur. So you see the cannons, a lot of these cannons that you see right here, they took from the French. They took it from the French and used it against them. Right, this is inside of the fortress. Okay, this is inside of the fortress. Let's see some more. Play this video. This is us on our way to the fortress. It was a 30-minute. You had to drive there first. Then it was a 30-minute incline walk or a horse ride all the way up to the citadel because it was way up in the atmosphere. Go ahead. Now, if you look beyond the trees over here, you'll see the clouds. Go ahead, let it play.
I got the white horse.
Now press pause real quick.
Slow horse, of course.
Press pause. Now right there in the upper right-hand corner, put the cursor on it. Up by the clouds, like right back there is the citadel. It's hard to see from this position and this angle, but that's where the citadel is, and that's where we're going. Press play.
The brothers in the front, I'm way behind. Oh, yeah.
And the horse that I had, he was half retarded. This horse was skinny as hell, like he didn't eat in a year. So you could only imagine the thoughts that was going through my mind. I was praying to the Most High that this horse didn't collapse with me on it. The horse didn't, fall off the trail. All right? And these are the locals over here. They're set up on the side of it. Of course, trying to make their money.
Oui, moi bien, moi.
Can't knock them for that.
Oui, moi fond.
All right, go to the next one. That's Deacon coming up. Hold on, go ahead, press play. Is that Deacon or Bishop?
Qui ça?
Sentano.
Sentano?
Yeah.
C'est non?
Oui. Yeah.
Sentano.
Yo le choix la toko.
Toko.
Nom c'est quel? Okay?
Okay, right there. And even as we go up, there's many outlooks, different posts and so forth that the Haitians had set up as for the people to be watchmen to look out for impending danger. All right, it's a picture. You got Deacon Malachi here. Okay, go ahead. Next one. Is that it? All right. This is all the way up at its peak. Okay, where you're able to look down. Notice the clouds. The clouds are under us. That's how I said it was very, very high. Go ahead.
You see that? See, it says depth effect. So move further. Way back up.
Give me something. I'm taking a video, so scan it on.
It's a mighty bishop right there. Looking powerful. Bishop looked like he was about to fly, take off. Notice where the clouds are at, brothers. The clouds are not up. You don't have to look up. You just look down or straight. That's how high this thing was. No, now the brother that's in the background talking, he's the tour guide, and he's telling us how the citadel, the way it was designed, how it looks like a ship from the ocean. So the French would come in, they thought it was a ship. But by the time they got real close, it was already too late, okay? Then they realized, oh, damn, this is a fortress. You had the cannons already on point, ready to shoot, and so forth, all right? Go to the next one, right? These are some of the cannons from the inside that the Haitians had. Go ahead.
I know this one is many, but I don't know what the neck and
Imperial. All right, and this is just one window that it was pointing out of, but there was many. There was a whole bunch. Go to the next one. That's all the videos. Okay, so this is a lot of outposts where the Haitian soldiers would sit in to be on the lookout. Okay, that's a shot of it right there. Okay, and the citadel, the tour guide told us that the citadel was not only made of brick and mortar, mud and slime, it also had the blood of the French. The Haitians mixed the blood of the French to build the citadel. Okay, read what you just read again. That's why I said, remember that word blood. Come on.
2 Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
and took the city by the will of God, and made unspeakable slaughters, and so much that a lake 2 furlongs broad near, adjoining thereunto, being filled full, was seen running with blood.
Seen running with blood, all right? And during the time of the Haitian Revolution, we used some of that blood that we got from the Frenchmen, and we made the citadel. This is another outlook right here of the outposts. You can get a better view of the landmass, the cannon, all those cannonballs we didn't have to use because the French never came back. They tried to, but they were extremely unsuccessful. And I'm going to show you why in prophecy they were so unsuccessful. Go to the next pictures? Nope, not that. I don't want that one yet. Okay, that's it. Get me, you read Deuteronomy 28:68? Go to Deuteronomy 33. Get me the prophecy because I said they were unsuccessful. Now, many of you heard of, like I said, you heard of Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Toussaint Louverture, Henry Christophe, Bonsoir Tonel. These were a lot of the forefathers of the Haitian Revolution. As you know, we're going to read it in the Maccabees soon, but Toussaint Louverture, he made a grave mistake by trusting the French, or I don't even want to use the word trust, appeasing them and trying to be diplomatic with them. So what happened, he was taken into captivity by Napoleon. Napoleon took him, invited him to come to France to talk, snatched him up, and threw him in prison. You know what, since I mentioned that, go to Maccabees first. Snatched him up and threw him in prison. And while he did that, he sent one of his Frenchmen, another Edomite by the name of Leclerc, I believe his name, to try to win back Haiti. And that's when Dessalines went buck crazy and devoured and slaughtered each and every last one of them. All right, and then we was able to free ourselves from the hands of the oppressor for that time. Okay, when I say free yourselves, I'm talking about physical chattel slavery, but now they're under economic slavery. But read what you got in Maccabees, because when I hear about the history of Haiti, I always think about Maccabees, and this is where Toussaint Louverture went wrong. He did the same thing that our forefather did in the book of Maccabees. Read.
First Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 42. Now when Tryphon saw that Jonathan came with so great a force, he durst not stretch his hand against him, but received him honorably, and commended him unto all his friends, and gave him gifts, and commanded his men of war to be as obedient unto him as to himself.
Yeah, same thing with Toussaint Louverture. Oh, come to France. Come, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's drink some tea. Let's eat some French biscuits. Let's talk about this. And Toussaint Louverture went straight ahead to Napoleon. Go ahead.
Unto Jonathan also he said, why hast thou put all this people to so great trouble, seeing there is no war betwixt us? Therefore, send them now home again, and choose a few men to wait on thee, and come thou with me to Ptolemais, for I will give it thee, and rest of the strongholds and forces, and all that have any charge. As for me, I will return and depart, for this is the cause of my coming. So Jonathan, believing him.
Jonathan what?
Believing him. Did as he bade him, and sent away his host, who went into the land of Judea. And with him also he retained but 3,000 men, of whom he sent 2,000 into Galilee, and 1,000 went with him. Now as soon as Jonathan entered into Ptolemais, they of Ptolemais shut the gates and took him.
And what? They shut the gates and did what?
And took him. And all them that came with him, they slew with the sword.
That's what they did. And guess what? Almost the same exact thing happened to Toussaint Louverture. All right, he went back to France, and what did they do? They took him and they threw him in a cold prison where he died of sickness. All right, threw him right in there. That's why the Bible says this. Get me Sirach 12 and 10. That's why the Bible says this. Brothers and sisters, stop playing. Stop trying to tame and train a pet snake, a black mamba at that, a black mamba anaconda. Okay. The red dragon. Stop trying to tame the red dragon. You can't do it. Go ahead.
Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
Never trust thine enemies. Come on.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So is his wickedness. Okay, now let's go to Deuteronomy 33, because we read in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, the Bible says that no man shall buy you, all right? Meaning no man shall save you, and we know about the Haitian independence in 1801. Okay, why did that happen? Why did God allow Haiti to become the first free black republic out of all nations on the face of this earth, wherever the remnants of the Israelites was scattered in the diaspora? Because of this reason. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 8.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 8. And of Levi he said, let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Messiah. At Messiah, and with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him.
Because they wrought forth the judgment of God, and they were not partial. Go ahead.
Neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word and kept thy covenant.
Come on.
They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law.
That's what we're doing now, all right? The Levite brothers in Israel united in Christ, okay? We're teaching Jacob thy judgments and Israel thy law. Go ahead.
They shall put incense before thee and hold burnt off sacrifices upon thine altar.
Read on.
Blessed, Lord, his substance.
Bless his substance. Come on.
And accept the work of his hands.
Come on.
Smite through the loins of them that rise against him.
Smite through the loins. Smite through the loins of them that rise up against them. Who rose up against us? The French. But the promise is, the blessing to the tribe of Levi is that they would smite through the loins of them that rise against them. Come on.
And of them that hate him. And they arise not again.
That they arise not again. So that's why the French was unable to retake Haiti. Okay? Although they retake Haiti economically, but they could not do it physically. Why? Because of the promise to the tribe of Levi. When is this gonna happen again? When the black Messiah returns. When the black Messiah returns once again. Okay? So, get me what you were just about to show. And get me, matter of fact, before that, go to the other article. There's another one. Nope, that one right there. Okay, this was a letter from Thomas Jefferson, his the Monticello reports, or Monticello research on Saint-Domingue, also known as Haiti. Go down, because during this whole time, Thomas Jefferson was the president. Okay, go down. I'm going to read this. While I'm reading this, I want you to find out the saying, what Napoleon said about stopping the march of the blacks in the earth. Just Google that. Napoleon stopping the marching of blacks in the earth. Go down. Go to all the way to 1801. So what you're reading, these are chain of events that led up to the Haitian Revolution, and it was a commentary on it between Thomas Jefferson and his men, mainly Thomas Jefferson to James Madison, and he would make comments about Napoleon and also what was going on in Haiti, all right? It started from 1791 all the way down, because the revolution started way before that with many men since like 1790, and it went all the way up. Okay, so this one was written in 1801, November 24th. I'll read it. It says, the most promising portion of them, the West Indies, is the island of Saint Domingo, all right, also known as Haiti, where the blacks are established into a sovereignty de facto and have organized themselves under regular laws and government. I should conjecture that their present ruler might be willing. The present ruler at this time was Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who declared himself an emperor over the island, okay? I should conjecture that their present ruler might be willing, on many considerations, to receive even that description which would be exiled for acts deemed criminal by us. So what was the acts that was deemed criminal by Esau? Them freeing themselves from slavery. Notice how Esau's the devil, because the American Revolution, when they was fighting Britain and putting Britain to death, they didn't consider that a criminal act. But the Haitians freed themselves from the French by great slaughter. Oh, they said, well, that would have been deemed a criminal act by us. Okay, it says, but meritorious perhaps by him. The possibility that these exiles might stimulate and conduct vindictive or predatory descents on our coast and facilitate concert with their brethren remaining here. So he understood that the people on this side in America that were slaves, he referred to them as our brothers. So the white man knew that we were brothers. We are brothers. Okay? Because you got a lot of commentators and YouTubers and influencers, that's what they call themselves, who always try to make a distinction between what they call themselves, foundational American blacks. That's what they call themselves. Okay? And they like to separate the West Indian blacks, not knowing we was just on different ships getting dropped off. We all part of the same nation, 12 tribes of Israel. There ain't no difference, foundational American black, West Indian black, and the foundation American blacks need reparations first, and this and that. This all garbage. Foundational American blacks ain't gonna get no reparations because the white man, the devil, understands the domino effect that it would have. If the foundational American blacks, Judah, get reparations, that means the Haitians gonna have to get reparations. The Jamaicans gonna have to get reparations from their oppressors. And the white man understands that they work together. They work together. They know the minute they give American blacks reparations, everybody else got to get reparations. Even the blacks in Europe. That's not gonna happen. Okay? But the white man, the devil, Thomas Jefferson, he understood that we were brothers. It says, facilitate concert with their brethren remaining here. Looks to a state of things between that island and us not probable on a contemplation of our relative strength and of the disproportion daily growing. And it is overweighed by the humanity of the measures proposed and the advantages of disembarrassing ourselves of such dangerous characters. America was scared to death that Haiti would influence an uprising here. And guess what it did? Because you had Nat Turner, you had Gabriel Prosser, they all heard about what happened in Haiti. And America was scared to death. Okay? Get me Zechariah. What is it? Zechariah 11 or 13 about to cut off the bands asunder? The brotherhood. Let's go. Come on.
Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 14. Then I cut asunder mine other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
That I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. The white man understood this. That's why he referred to us as brothers. And he said we must prevent ourselves from embarrassing ourselves with such dangerous characters. Who were the characters? The brothers in Haiti that caused the revolt, the insurrection, and the freeing of themselves. They did not want that here. So they cut us asunder. That's why they try to make a separation between Judah and the rest of the brothers from the Caribbean, okay? They try to keep us separated, not only in nationality, but by politics and religion and so forth. Read that again.
Then I cut asunder mine other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
That I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. Okay, now you got to ask yourself, did Dessalines recognize that our brothers in America were our brothers? Absolutely. But let me pull up what you just had. You just had something, and then I don't know what else. There we go. Read the quote.
The march of the blacks and Napoleon
Bonaparte. Go down. I want what he said. There was a quote.
Go down some more. Right there.
Okay. This is to show you that the white man, their thoughts, they're all on one mind frame. They all think together. Okay? They all think the same. They all think alike. They're all in cahoots. Okay? Now, read that. What Napoleon Bonaparte said about the Haitians.
My decision to destroy the authority of the blacks in Saint Domingo is not so much based on consideration of commerce and money as on the need to block forever the march of the blacks in the world.
They said to block forever the march of the blacks in the world. They understand that. They understand this is dangerous. These Negroes are going to influence everybody else. We can't let that happen. But according to prophecy, according to the blessing, Deuteronomy 33, what did Moses say? Moses said to smite down their enemies. Okay, bless them, smite down their enemies. And God allowed the so-called Haitians, even though they was in their wickedness, he allowed the so-called Haitians to overthrow the French. Napoleon Bonaparte mindset was the same as Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson just said a little nicer. He said, this is dangerous. We must prevent ourselves from getting embarrassed. It's the same thing, because who got embarrassed here? Napoleon got embarrassed amongst all his other European colleagues. They were looking at like, damn, they got overthrown like that? Why do you think they used, during the French-American War, why do you think they used some of the Haitians to fight as soldiers? Okay, because they already thought these dudes is bad. Okay, we need them in the military. Okay, even the Savannah, the war that they had in Savannah, Georgia, Henry Christophe was part of that war. Henry Christophe was part of that war. Okay, I think it was Henry Christophe or Pichon, one of those guys was part of that war. Okay, but drop that and get me the next article, the letter that our dear brother sent to Thomas Jefferson. Read that. Can you read it, or you want me to read it? Read all the way from the top.
History of Saint Domingo. Liberty or death. Government of Haiti. Headquarters January 14. First year of the independence of Haiti. The Governor General, considering that a great number of native blacks and men of color are suffering in the United States of America.
So this is Dessalines. This was the emperor of Haiti that wrote a letter to Thomas Jefferson. He didn't wait, because remember, they got their independence on the 1st of January 1st, 1801. January 14th, 13 days later, he wrote a letter to the American president at that time, Thomas Jefferson. And a lot of people, a lot of so-called blacks in America, they don't even know that this letter exists. To show you that this man had the mind. He had the mind of what? Unity. The same mind that's in Bishop Nathaniel. He had the mind of unity, brotherhood. He wasn't selfish. He was selfless. He remembered his brothers in the States. Read.
For want of the means of returning, decrees that there should be allowed to the captains of American vessels the sum of $40 for each individual they may restore to this country.
So he was telling them that there should be allowed to the captains of American vessel the sum of $40 for each individual they may restore to this country. Come on.
He orders that this decree shall be printed, published, and posted up, and that a copy thereof be immediately forwarded to the Congress of the United States
by the Governor General Dessalines. So what was this? He was writing to America, telling them, look, free the blacks there, send them back to Haiti if you don't want them. Send them to Haiti. So he was looking out for his brothers. Where else can we read about that? Right in the book of Maccabees by the tribe of Levi. Give me 1 Maccabees 3:43. 1 Maccabees 3:43. So he wasn't selfish. He was not selfish. He was thinking about his brethren. He was thinking about his brethren. Go ahead.
1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 43. They said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary.
Same history, same mind. Now, who else did Dessalines try to help? Was it just Judah? Let's see, who else? Get me the next article on Latin America. Get me the next article. Should be one on Latin America. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, there are certain countries that got their freedom because of what happened in Haiti. Let's go down. Let me read this. It says, Haiti aided Latin American independence movements. Latin XS are returning the favor with silence and broken promises. Wow. Come on, Northern Kingdom. Let me read this. This is October 7th, 2021. In 1815, Spain's defeat of Simon Bolivar's revolutionary army in Venezuela nearly extinguished the dream of independence in South America. After the loss, Bolivar sought political asylum in the only free republic in Latin America, Haiti. Why do they say Haiti? Why are they using Latin America and Haiti synonymously? Because Haiti's in the Caribbean, and you have other Latin American countries in the Caribbean like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic. All right? At that time, Haiti was a safe harbor for revolutionaries and formerly enslaved Africans. Although the Republic made promises to colonial powers that it would not intervene in freedom and independence struggles, Haiti continued to support rebellions, intercepted ships carrying enslaved people. This is unknown history. It says Haiti continued to support rebellions, intercepted ships carrying enslaved people, and freed its human cargo. Why they don't talk about that in America? You got to dig deep and find the books on that and articles, okay, and journals. All right? That's why they hate Haiti so much. I'm going to read that again. This thing tickles my ears. Haiti continued to support rebellions, intercepted ships carrying enslaved people, and freed its human cargo. For Haiti, colonialism and slavery anywhere posed a threat to the Republic's own independence and humanity. Hallelujah. Go down. Thus, when a defeated Bolivar landed in Port-au-Prince, President Alexandre Pétion understood the significance of the man who led the liberation movement. Pétion offered Bolivar 1,000 rifles, ammunition, and other supplies. He also provided hundreds of Haitian sailors and soldiers who had fought in the Haitian Revolutionary War. The offering came with one condition. Bolivar had to abolish slavery in South America when he founded a new republic, because there was slavery going on in a lot of these Latin American countries. Remember, a lot of these leaders were mixed with the conquistador blood, was in many of them. They had the mind, and those that weren't mixed, they still had the mindset of Spain. Okay? Bolivar agreed. He and his army once again took on Spain, returning to Haiti a second time for assistance, and triumphantly declared Venezuela an independent country in 1821. After later defeating Spain across South America, Bolivar declared himself president of Gran Colombia, which is present-day Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, and Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. Foreshadowing Latin America's present relationship to Haiti, Bolivar broke his promise to Pétion. Rather than wholly abolishing slavery, Bolivar sought to maintain Latin America's racial and class hierarchy so that white elites like himself would not fall to a partocracia, a so-called mulatto takeover. Having seen what it meant for black people to be truly free in Haiti, when his own black and indigenous generals launched a coup against his growing authoritarianism in 1828, Bolivar complained bitterly that they had the audacity to want absolute equality. Wow. He's talking about the blacks of the country had the audacity to want absolute equality. Wow. As a warning to South America's black and brown population, he had the mixed race leader of the coup, Jose Padilla, executed. Wow. Nearly 2 centuries later, many of these nations have been as openly hostile to Haitian immigrants as they are to their own black Latinx populations. Latin America owes Haiti its independence. The Haitian Revolution offered a model for a successful insurrection against a colonial power. Tatiana Flores, PhD, an art historian and professor in the Department of Latino and Caribbean Studies at Rutgers University, told Refinery 21, for instance, the Haitian Revolution and its Declaration of Independence stated that we must take any hope of re-enslaving us away from the inhumane government. In the end, we must live independent or die. This allowed the black and brown majority of the Americas to see their humanity recognized and offered a model for an equitable society. So what was the point of this article? The point of the article is to show you the mindset that the Haitians had to help their brethren. Dessalines reached out to Judah in America, and you had Pétion, Alexander Pétion. He tried to help Northern Kingdom, okay? Northern Kingdom of Israel. Read that again. What you read in Maccabees.
First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 43. They said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary.
It says, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for the sanctuary. Okay, let us fight for the sanctuary. Okay, get me 1 Corinthians. We're going to close it out. We're going to close it out on this. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 for the naysayers who are trying to revise the 12 tribe sign and come up with ridiculous claims like Trinidad and Tobago or the Haitians. Now, if you want to say that they are Haitians in Trinidad and Tobago, absolutely yes. But that causes confusion when you put things like that up there. Okay, Trinidad and Tobago being the tribe of Levi.
1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 13. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual.
Verse 14.
But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God.
That's why in the beginning of the class we showed you the brothers on that used to be in Israel United in Christ, who are on Biblical Smoke and other platforms, talking about the 12 tribe sign is fake and the Genesis 49 is a lie. We don't know what we're talking about. But we do know what we're talking about. The natural man doesn't understand, but the spiritual man does. Why? Read.
For they are foolishness unto him.
Spiritual things are foolish unto the natural man. Okay, you don't have the spirit of discernment. You can't go into history and compare it with the Bible. All right, your spiritual eyes are darkened. Go ahead.
Neither can they know them because they are spiritually discerned.
Neither can you know them because they are spiritually discerned. Okay, so all praises to the Most High. We're going to close it on that. Hopefully you brothers and sisters were edified, and now you know some of the history behind the tribe of Levi. All right, and with that, we say shalom. Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.